Assembling family members.
Hey yo, this is Logan from Australia.
What's up guys, this is Will, coming to you from Georgia in the United States.
Family assembled. We have liftoff.
That's a bat, kitty.
Welcome to Call of the Wild. An exploration of sound with the latest electronic music. With nothing to hold us back, these are the songs of the wild.
I'm so alone, nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you. I'm so alone, nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you.
In a terrible position because Mori, if they want to escape, they have to go towards Taso. They swallow up Dark Ghost, but Dark Ghost going to be happily spat out to safety. Silence goes out, Stefanchi jumps in, but he just doesn't have the damage. He's in, chunked right out and down. Kieran moves forward. The rest of Kato go on to Kieran. He's trying to get a position, but that's going to be the divine intervention, keeping Dark Ghost alive. Mr. Keiko, oh, the Oblivion stops up everyone! Dark Ghost to genius just prevents Memento Mori any chance of taking down Mr. Keiko, and that is likely to be the ace if Mr. Keiko finishes things off.
Who is arguably going to be a priority target, will not be able to get burst down that heavily, and this is going to become really tough.
Yep, Stefanchi goes in, Stefanchi goes out. He was not having any of that, but he did a lot of work to Dark Ghost. Back and forth. Does a bit of damage, but Kieran's going to go down here to that forward barrage. And now with two members down on the side of Memento Mori, this is going to be a Kraken taken. Stefanchi dives in, I'm not sure where. He's going to lose his life now to Mr. Keiko. Why isn't that Aegis straight up and an infusement? He's ready to go again. Not even respecting the damage that M. Roswell has been putting out. One shot deletes Ice Dog, and this is going to be the Lyra dying before. She's not even using a portal. M. Roswell goes, PRZ will save himself, he doesn't even care, and this is Mr. Keiko just trying to find the 2 versus 3. That's a burst of judgment, just knocked down by the Holy Nova. That's Ice Dog's dead. That's Mr. M. Roswell dead.
Are they going to commit to this?
They have committed to it, but the gauntlet will go down. Able to escape, but that's great. Silence Pornero's got blown up. Can he dance around Mr. Fresher is the question. Oh, he can! He's looking for a double kill! Gonna put 2 to sleep! Can they get away from this disastrous start to a fight? Yes, they can! The fountain comes out, and PRZ's leading the charge. Paul Monroe gets deleted by Keiko, and Paul Monroe, wait for it. That's gonna be Joker Silence, but Easy to Use taking a huge chunk of damage. Death from Above goes out, slows down everyone, and KTL's being tanked. But that's a huge one-shot, finding a lot of damage onto this Sky. That's Easy to You diving in and losing his life. Great usage of a Series Strike to escape a sticky situation. Ostro has a chance to actually clean up here, but Sneaky's not out. They have no, they don't have a Broken Myth on this Scarf, so it really just doesn't do anything. There's a Shimmer Strike. Joke's in a bit of trouble. He might have to land an on point to save his life, and he does. Boom. Edsel going to start taking over at Leon. Going to start sniping it away as the Kraken starts moving towards it. The one shot goes out, and Leon's able to secure it, but can he escape? Active camo set up. That is huge damage. Aeon blows up Cortez, and now it is just Bongma Boo in a lot of trouble as he's just getting harassed. That core collapse seals his fate. A late fountain, a Solar Storm flying through. Cortez gets dropped, and it just leaves Nomad Vagabond left alive, but not
I'm so alone, nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you. I'm so alone, nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you.
Here I am again, floating through the silence in my cold skin. My body is wearing thin. My fears tell me I'll never win. My body is wearing thin. And there's darkness here, the whole world I fear. In my room I seem to drown. But I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down, down, down. I'm on
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VGL Summer Split 1. We are in the final days of our split, and we are going to be going into the playoff bracket as soon as we can. We are having some issues with the first game. We will get them resolved, hopefully get the teams into draft, but I thought I would show you where we are right now, and if we have to cut to a break while we get things resolved, we'll do that in the meantime. I'm joined by Dowsey and Tasty Bacon. Gentlemen, it has been quite a interesting first sort of few weeks of the VGL Summer Split. I've had a really good time covering the sort of the action and all the games, seeing some pretty high level play from time to time too. Anything that you think has surprised you so far, Dowsey, about this tournament, or are we kind of at where we expect the players to be?
If you look at the current, winners bracket, it's seed 1 versus seed 2 going up against each other in the winners bracket final. So clearly that's as expected. Perhaps what's not as expected is that you have people like Team Queso, XL playing each other in the same, to make it towards the losers bracket finals. Well, no, not quite the losers bracket final, but the consolidation. I can't remember what it's called. Before the losers bracket final. And you have esports teams, seed 22 up against a seed 8 team. So actually, we're going to lose 2 really good teams right now in this round of the playoffs before we even get to the losers bracket final.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up, and again, like you said, I think one of the big games of today is going to be that Calamity Reborn Salty Potatoes game. 1 versus 2, that literally could not have lined the seeds up any better than we already have them to see those guys in the winners bracket final. Obviously, we've got some other games coming up today. We've got one second. Historic Esports versus Audacity Gaming is the first game. Team Queso versus XL Esports as the second. And then, like I said, Calamity Reborn going up against Salty Potatoes as the last. So, Tasty Bacon. Saw the hype video coming into this. We had a really good sort of casting video of some of the action that we've seen so far. Which of the games are you looking forward to most today? I think most people would look at the Calamity Reborn game, but are you interested in any of the other ones?
I mean, I'm actually more interested in these 2 elimination bracket games we have because, while Calamity Reborn and Salted Potatoes is sure to be a great game, those two teams already have their challenge battle spot locked down, whereas the 4 teams currently in the elimination bracket are going to be fighting today and then once again tomorrow to determine who gets that final spot. And so there's so much more on the line for the 4 teams that are playing in the elimination bracket today that I think there's going to be some incredible plays coming out from these guys.
Absolutely. Now, I'm just getting the teams ready for draft. Like I said, we've had some issues with the first game. We're hopefully looking to get them resolved as quickly as possible. But I will do my best to move things along. Just got to get the teams into draft and so on and so forth, and we'll get things sorted. Dalsey, what has been some of the big surprise in terms of any meta changes during VGL, or has everything been pretty sort of set standard? I think I've seen a bit more Catherine than I would have expected to during this tournament, but I mean, has anything been meta defining for you during this?
I wouldn't say that the Challenger Series teams that we've had so far have broken the meta whatsoever. Sometimes you see some very unique picks that you just wouldn't see at the highest level of Vainglory. I agree with you. Catherine has been pretty prominent, but it makes a lot of sense. Often we see that captains, especially captains who have played a lot of solo queue, and that's where they've kind of got their grounds from. And this might be one of their first competitive settings, or they don't have much competitive experience. They often fall back to the Catherine. I think Catherine's pretty strong, and especially considering Grace is really strong, people consider the Catherine a counter to Grace. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay, and we're just sort of moving things along. Tasty Bacon. Sorry, I'm doing about 1,000 things at once right now. There's lots of stuff going on. So just sort of moving things on here. Tasty Bacon, what if I'm literally running out of things to ask as my brain is trying to do about 50,000 things. About this game coming up, Historic Esports, what have you felt about these guys? C22 obviously had a bit of an upset getting this far into the tournament, but the team seems to have played pretty well. They're going against Audacity Gaming, who we haven't seen anything of on stream right now. But it has got the likes of Peternet in there, who we've seen in VGL before. Pretty good team who've made it this far. I mean, what do you think their chances stand getting into the challenge battles? Okay, Tasty Bacon has also disappeared. Dalsey, I'm going to phrase that question to you.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I think that they're going to have a hard task going up against the people on the other side of their bracket. Like I mentioned earlier, and this is kind of perhaps the big upset is that, yes, we have seed 1 and 2 in the winners bracket final as expected, but currently in this bracket match, where we're at with the elimination bracket, we have seed 4 versus seed 3, and that usually happens in the consolidation final just before the losers bracket final. So the fact that XL Team Queso one of those will be eliminated before we find out which one of the teams from the elimination bracket will be making it into the challenge battles is kind of a sad time for both these teams. Team Queso and XL have been around in the VGL for some time. The players certainly have, and they're both very strong teams. Both teams probably deserve to be fighting in a challenge battles, but only one of them can make it.
Well, I'm really interested in seeing how Audacity Gaming perform. As you mentioned, Xandra, we haven't seen them on stream. They have had an interesting run through the challengers thus far. They actually lost in the very first round against the 25 seed in Team Minotaurs, but have played through the entirety of the elimination bracket. Their backs against the walls all the way through and have made it this far. So they are definitely no strangers to playing under pressure, as many of their elimination bracket games have actually been 2-1 victories for them. So they have really been pushing things to the limit here. So it's going to be interesting to see if their, I don't want to say their luck, but if their streak of being on the brink of elimination is going to run out here.
Unfortunately, if they've already made it there, then I have no clue.
I see. A side I just saw connected.
Right. Okay. That's good. We'll have to see if it seems like PeterNet are already in there, is what they're saying. So that means that both teams would be connected. No. Historics. Yeah, they give a they they've done how many of these? How many drafts have they done on a different site, and they haven't? They forget their login and their the website every time. Currently interested because Historics, they played one really good game against Salty Potatoes. We haven't seen any of their games before that, but you know, we saw a very strong Sky game from them. In fact, the player who played Sky that game isn't playing today, so that's going to be interesting. Their second game against Salty Potatoes was left something to be desired. I think is easy to say. The strange thing about the team is that all the players, at least when we casted them against Salty Potatoes, perhaps it's a little bit different because they've got a different player coming in today. Pretty much main captain. So you've got 3 captain mains on one team, which is interesting.
Hey, but you know what? If it works, it works, and they have definitely made it work thus far. Having their only series loss be to Salty Potatoes, and that's not really a team that you can hang your head at for having lost to. So it's definitely a team that is a force to be reckoned with and has been putting on some stellar performances to get to this point. And now they're going to be up against this team, like I said, that has had their backs against the wall and been fighting essentially like a caged animal since the start of Challengers in Audacity. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Audacity is going to bring to the table.
Yeah. Certainly, Audacity, I think, is probably the wild card here. You know, we know the players, Ziwa, PeterNet, Jackarus, constantly seeing them around in solo queue. Pretty strong players. I think that they're the favorites to take this series, I think. So we'll have to see if they are able to bring it. I think for Historics as well, they kind of unknown. It's really hard to work out what Historics want to do because when you go do research on them, you look at their VG pros, there is just no information really about their competitive standings more than anything. So it's really hard to judge the team.
I am just receiving confirmation that you don't. Okay. Sorry.
You alright?
Yeah. Sorry. I am having almost a mental breakdown on stream just because of how hard it is to get people into the draft. And I swear they did this last week, but apparently they have completely forgotten to do exactly what they did last week. So I think we're ready to go for the draft. I'm just going to start it. Let us go. This is all it's all getting ready to go, and I think it's going to be Historic Esports on the left-hand side of the screen, and it is going to be Audacity Gaming on the right. There we go. I'm there.
All right, so let's see what this first ban from Historis is going to be. As long as they actually select one.
It looks like we're having an issue selecting. I might have to stop and restart. I haven't had any indication from the people. Any indication from the guys that they are struggling right now, but it looks like they probably are. Which you know, that happens, Dowsey, doesn't it? That just happens sometimes.
It does, especially when it's Historics Esports, unfortunately. So it's just something we do have to deal with. Obviously, if this team does want to make it to VG8, then this is something they cannot afford to do. They would just, get disqualified or lose bans or whatnot. But right now, we're being pretty lenient with them. So we will get this draft restarted.
We will indeed. Okay. I'm going to start it again and just see what happens. As you can see, Scoundrel has a tether, and he's moderately close to the end. And the stream has only just started.
All right, well...
Well, they're not communicating very well, but this is their own fault at Scoundrel at this point. So
yeah, I think it's going to get to a point where we might end to the point where we end up disqualifying, because it's getting pretty interesting.
30 seconds.
Hey!
Okay. I didn't transition over, guys, just in case it didn't work, but it looked like they took a very long time to think of their first ban. I don't know whether it just took them a while to load in, but we finally could be on the way here at VGL. I know I'm so sorry for the delays, but we have had a lot of issues with the first game being set up and ready to go. So this is now underway, and we'll get on the way as soon as we physically can here, Darcy.
Deep breaths, Scoundrel. Deep breaths.
You got this, my man. Soon enough, you're going to fade into the background. You get to just spectate the game, take a breath, take a breather, leave it in the capable hands of Tastebaker and I. Grace going to be the ban here. That leaves Grumpjaw and Idris open. Could see both being picked up by the side of Audacity now. Catherine going to be the first lock-in by Historic.
Yeah, and you were talking about it earlier, Dowsy. Catherine is just kind of a sort of a default captain pick. If the one you're looking for has been banned away in that Grace, Catherine is a great pick to just fall back onto. Idris going to be grabbed here by the side of Audacity. I am a huge fan of the Idris pick right now. I think it's just a incredibly strong pick. You can flex it, weapon or crystal. And so picking it up as a first pick gives you a lot of options as you continue on through the draft.
Certainly does. And now with this glaive ban, they've kind of taken away an answer to shutting down Idris in the lane. Not like a full-on answer, but it is an answer. That's going to be a black for the ban. I feel like if I was Audacity right now, I would be locking in Grumpjaw, flexing the Idris towards a CP route, and then last picking your captain. Of course, with Grumpjaw, you can flex it to the captain position. It would be a strong lock-in. Instead, they are going to go for their Arden. It doesn't seem like you need to go for that, but the reason that Audacity have done this is because they want to last pick their jungler and try and counter the composition, which hasn't really been revealed yet by Historic.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense if you want to have that counter pick to go ahead and grab your captain. Like you said, you also have the option of just saving the captain because you know your opponents already have theirs. But an alpha going to come out. We have not seen very much alpha, especially here in the Challengers, Dowsy. And I feel like an alpha could struggle pretty heavily against an Idris.
Yeah, no, alpha does. Idris pretty much counters alpha in the sense that you can't really stick to Idris. You use your termination protocol. Idris can just shout step away, shimmer strike in, whatever he wants. That's going to be a Skye though locked in, and I like the Skye because Skye is going to attempt to just harass alpha as she charges forward here.
Yeah, and so that does very likely mean it will be a weapon Idris up in the lane with that crystal Skye in the jungle. And I gotta say, I've just looking at the drafts, I really favor the draft that Audacity has picked up. Historis does have the Vox, which is a very strong pick, but Vox Idris is one that can very much go even and can actually even favor the Idris if there's just some strong jungle ganks coming out from the very beginning of the game.
Not only that, Idris, obviously, if he has the support of his team, will be able to take down, the box pretty easily. So it's all about a skill matchup. The captains will get involved. Catherine does counter Idris, so we've got that to kind of worry ourselves with just a little bit, because if Idris dives in, Catherine can use her Merciless Pursuit instantly to stun. With the Sky, though, it kind of ensures that you'll have range threat and you also have a damage threat as the CC threat in the death from above. So a really strong composition. It's actually a really fun composition to run in solo queue if you ever get it. And with the fact that Audacity have got the synergy, I think they favor this game.
So we are about to jump into the game, guys. Sorry that I was quiet during draft, but I think Darcy and Tasty Bacon took over excellently. I just had a lot of stuff to organise right now. I'm trying to multitask my brain out, and it's crazy. As you can see on screen, these are the two teams facing up against each other. These are their sort of most played, some of their most successful heroes in solo queue recently. And we are just going through the blind pick process now and getting into game so we can start things off and kick things off with a really, really interesting game between Historic Esports and Audacity Gaming. Audacity Gaming favoured by seed, but Historic Esports have also trumped the odds to get here in the first place. You know, it's almost like they were completely different based on their seeding. So it's you know, it's just really, really interesting to see how they got this far. Anyway, we are going to be moving into the game pretty shortly here, Darcy, and I will let you guys take over.
Thank you, Scoundrel. Take a break. Get yourself a Kit Kat. You need it. It's going to be a long broadcast and a pretty interesting one as well. Historic obviously has shown some pretty funny upsets so far, but now we'll have to see whether or not they can be shut down by the likes of Audacity.
All right, so early jungle start. It looks like it is going to be Historic Esports sending their captain out a little bit while the lane carry and jungler start up these camps as a duo. And so they're going to be looking to feed a little bit of extra gold onto this Vox, but this is an opportunity for Ziwa to just really shove this lane hard. The fact that his lane opponent hasn't shown up, if he can just get a really hard push, sometimes you can make your opponent miss out on 1 or 2 minions, but easy to kill you only helps out with that first camp and then quickly rotates back up to lane. So a very heads-up play there by Easy to Kill You to make sure that he doesn't lose out on any of this lane CS.
Idris isn't really a hero with the current, typical starting build that you go on him that can hard shove a lane. Often you go Book of Eulogies and a defensive item. Typically against Box, it's shielding. It's actually a fight breaking out. Peternet doing a lot of damage to this Alpha at the moment. From KTL, going to tank up it from behind the forward barrage, but Peternet has his cooldowns. They haven't rotated. Togfer going to go down. He goes down for first blood. From KTL should go down as well. Yep, that's going to be a kill going over. All this time, Ziwa just farming in the lane. Had opportunity to force a rotate, decided not to, and probably wasn't really necessary.
Well, definitely wasn't necessary because no one from the side of Audacity is really in any sort of trouble. They're going to steal away the doubles in the back as well and just keep on farming. So everything going very, very well for the side of Audacity in the early game. The first 2 minutes already putting up about 1,000 gold lead just because of those first 2 kills, some jungle steals, and again, Ziwa just able to hang out in the lane, farming up the entire time.
So I was going down a fort trap pick there before the first blood happened. Ziwa does get stunned, but should be alright. Often against Box, you want to go for some shielding first because the Resonance Bouncers are your main damage threat, and the shielding actually provides more defensive stats than armor would against Box in the early levels. Of course, once Box starts getting some damage items, then that reverses you on armor. Another fight breaking out in the jungle here. Peternet very comfortable just chasing on him. From KTL has nowhere to run but into the forward barrage, and that will be a series strike to death. Peternet starts snowballing this game.
Yeah, this guy, if she gets a early lead, it can become absolutely devastating, especially against an alpha who doesn't have much ability to escape, as we're seeing right here.
That's going to be an easy kill for Peternet here. Takes him down into his reboot. He might actually revive. He does, actually. So this could be prevented. Peternet just trying to auto-attack to death, and he will find it. A lot of Sky players forget that their auto-attacks do a fairly decent amount of damage. And so we'll try and series strike or forward barrage to finish off an opponent when you can just auto-attack them to death with your target lock. Your passive, it provides great mobility, which means you can keep up with a lot of targets.
Not only that, but if the forward barrage had tried to come out to finish it off, From KTL would have been able to body block pretty much all that damage, and it would have prevented the kill. So very good awareness from Peternet. It's why they've got this 3-0-1 scoreline in just the first 3.5 minutes of the game, absolutely taking control of this jungle.
And this is actually game over at this point, theoretically, for the side of Historics, because PeterNet is 3-0-1. He has 2,000 gold. He's going to get himself a Frostburn at 4 minutes, and he can start building towards Neva Harvest. There's no real need to go towards the breaking point, but sorry, not the breaking point, the broken myth, because of this earlier lead. But he can if he wants to. He might just get the energy battery just for the sustain that it provides. Alpha has had camp stolen away from her. She's got 14 CS to PeterNet's 30, and is a huge XP difference between these. PeterNet's are going to hit level 6 in the next minute, whereas Tavotka is just nowhere near hitting level 6. He won't even hit level 5 in the next minute. So this is, you know, if Audacity Gaming keep pushing this lead, which they are certainly going to, there is no comeback, realistically, for Historic, other than a mistake from Audacity Gaming.
And so, but that's why we play the games. You know, mistakes do happen. Even the top teams will make mistakes every so often. So it's going to be a tough game for Historic, but they obviously are going to be hoping that some sort of mistake does happen. But right now, this pressure coming out from PeterNet on the lane is just massive. They're getting a little bit of chip damage on the turret, but they're doing so much work to the enemy heroes that they're just being forced to recall, and eventually they're not going to be able to defend this turret any longer.
Yeah, Tavodka's going to go down here, and they might even get from KTL if he stays around for too long. He does. That is an easy 2 kills. Finally, PeterNet does get shut down. The fountain from Jiraxis just wasn't enough to keep him alive as he tanked the turret. Was the first to go in. That's a mistake from Audacity Gaming, not having their Arden or their Idris tank it instead. But at this point, it is a huge gold deficit. It is 2,000 gold. Ziwa very nicely farming up in the lane, 61 CS. He will have his Sorrow Blade now. PeterNet going towards that broken myth, and he can continue snowballing the game via that. And because of this really short range that Historic has, you know, Vox practically a melee hero. Alpha, of course, you know, is a melee hero with Catherine. It's very hard for Historics to actually defend any objectives because of the range, the chakram, the forward barrage, and of course the death from above can just really put them in a sticky situation.
6 minutes in, and Tover Doctor is just getting their first tier 3 item. It's pretty heavily far behind still, and they're going to continue fighting in the lane, though, as Audacity really trying to push the issue, as they should be.
Yep, they've got a fountain up now, so Historics might be able to survive a little bit longer, but this turret's going to get focused down. PeterNet has his death from above coming up in 10 seconds, and for Audacity, there's no need to relinquish this pressure, because Audacity, they may not be farming in the jungle, but neither is Todvika, because he's required. Oh, that's great. Gauntlet puts him to sleep. That's going to be him going stunned. He will come back up again, but the double kill comes out with a double chakram for the side of Audacity. Ziwa finding himself 3-0-1. Really impressive scoreline. Turret goes down, and that's a 4,000 gold lead.
7-minute turret taken by Audacity. They are all over Historic Esports, and this is just it's starting to get out of hand a bit here, Dowsy. There's a massive lead. It's 8 kills to 1, 3,000 plus gold lead, and that's going to increase even further with a 236 gold payout per player. I mean, PeterNet already almost at the second tier 3 item at 7.5 minutes. You normally expect that timing to come out around the 9-minute mark or so, but it has just been so accelerated because of those early kills, because of those jungle steals. I mean, already infusion for easy to kill you feels like almost a little bit of a desperation infusion, like just trying to do anything they can to get back into these fights.
Yeah, well, he's got his Sorrow Blade, so it's a bit of an item spike from KTL. Is just going to eat this forward barrage. And Audacity are just looking for another engage. They didn't quite find it with the forward barrage. Oh, sorry, the death from above, but the forward barrage will get it. PeterNet just doing the work. Fountain from KTL too late, and that's him going down. Easy to kill you. He will be able to survive this, but I feel like this turret's going to go down. Audacity Gaming just going to keep their finger on the pulse.
Yeah, there's no reason to take your foot off the pedal, and that is, I mean, why would you at this point? You're so far ahead. You have to keep this pressure up to make sure there is no opportunity for your opponents to get back into this game. It's going to be Topher Doctor going in a bit. They've got the Juraxis pretty low, but they're just not willing to try and chase that out because they know if they go too far out, then Ziwa and PeterNet are very likely to just turn around and destroy them.
Yeah, for sure. PeterNet's got his Eve of Harvest now, so he can stay and siege a lot longer. The reason he's gone Eve of Harvest here is because he's so far ahead. The sustain actually allows his team to do a little bit more. I was kind of thinking he might go for it, but often a lot of people really hate going Eve of Harvest first item. Second item, much rather have the Broken Myth because of the damage it provides. PeterNet doesn't need any damage. He's got too much damage at this point.
And
Level 9.
these fights aren't even really lasting long enough to get Broken Myth stacked up either. They're ending so quickly.
Yeah, certainly would be another reason there. Audacity, though, I feel like for them, this is the hardest part of the game because the choke point turret can be a little bit hard to siege. It's the easiest place to make mistakes, but look at this, just straight onto easy to kill you. He gets isolated from his team. That's going to be another reboot and another death. Double kill for Z-Wire, and easy to kill. He's going to get chased down by PeterNet and Jaxorus. Forward Barrage just icing him away, and then he's going to be able to find a series strike right over his head to find the ace. Siwa with ace buff minions will easily take this turret here, and the hardest part of the game just became a whole lot easier.
Yeah, normally this choke point turret is very difficult to siege up against, but when you get yourself an ace, you get those ace buff minions, all of a sudden that task becomes a lot less daunting. Choke point turret is down as Ziwa backs himself away, and his Crystal Sentry looking like they've thought about focusing it, but again, not wanting to take any unnecessary risks fighting around that Crystal Sentry. I feel like they would have been fine, but they just don't want to worry about possibly getting into a bad fight with that sentry. Oh my goodness, Topher Doctor taking about a quarter of his health. Sentry's defeated, and it looks like Audacity is just looking for another fight. They unfortunately don't have that gauntlet to force it.
Yeah, well, they don't need it. It's going to be PeterNet finding another kill into Vodka. He's got 7 Broken Myth stacks. He'll get another couple now. Another kill over to Ziwa. Ziwa will find himself a nice little triple kill. And that is the gold advancing to 8,000 in the lead for Audacity. They can't quite finish the game now, so they will go get themselves a gold miner just to make that gold tap even further. You can look at the difference between items here. PeterNet's on 3 tier 3s. Tavodka has 1. Ziwa is going to finish his tier 3 after this gold miner. His third one, and easy to kill you, is on 2. From KTL has a fountain, and that is it. Jaxorus has a fountain, he has himself a crucible, he has himself an atlas. He's level 8 to the level 7. It's just ridiculous leads right now for Audacity Gaming.
Yeah, the only thing that they don't have a lead in is easy to kill you is level 10 to Ziwa's level 9. That's literally the only aspect where Audacity doesn't have a lead, is they're looking for another fight.
Yeah, from KTL goes down. That Broken Myth stacks up nicely to 4. Easy to kill, you will be able to get away though. He is lucky in that sense, but Tavodka can't go.
Topher Doctor.
Yeah, Topher Doctor. He will find a Termination Protocol, blow up some minions there, get a bit of gold. I guess it's worthwhile. And easy to kill, he's currently just dancing with death. Going to be Ziwa diving on in. He has his Shroud Step up in 3 seconds. In fact, the Sky is struggling to finish the kill here. The death from above going to stun, and that should be Tavodka. I can't say his name. Topher Doctor going down fairly easily.
So 18-1 at 12 minutes. Well over the kill per minute pace. A 10,000 gold lead almost built up for the side of Audacity. And as we mentioned, this one, the only reason that this game isn't over literally over, because it's been figuratively over for some time now. The only reason it's not literally over is just the death timers are not long enough for Audacity to be able to just push in and go underneath the double turrets at the crystal. So they're just going to continue pushing up, continue taking opponents' minions off the board. Going to be getting themselves some infusions as well, just to put that final nail in the coffin. One more team fight should be enough for them to be able to get into the base and start taking those crystal turrets, and it looks like they're looking for it right now.
Yeah, from KTL, struggling to escape here. That's going to be him going down to a Shimmer Strike. Ziwa finding that one as he goes in, finds the kill into Easy to Kill You. Ooh, yeah, he will. Double kill comes out, and now it's Tova Doctor going down. He is in his termination protocol. They'll give this triple over to Ziwa just so his stats look crazy. There's the ace, there's the turret falling in a second as Ziwa finally escapes its wrath. They're going to then move in with their minions here. From KTL has respawned, but I don't think there's anything that the team can do here. Won't even be close to stopping this harassment from Audacity Gaming. I think at this point you just want to go to the next game. And game 2 of this series better be a lot better for Historic Esports or they are eliminated.
Yeah, that was a very, very one-sided matchup. Audacity came in full control from the start. That early invasion was able to find a couple kills and some jungle camps, and they just never looked back from there. A great job of keeping the pressure up all game. So many times we see a team get an early lead and then just sort of fizzle out towards the mid-game, but Audacity, they never relented. They were constantly pushing, constantly looking for fights. And you can see it, in the scoreboard, 11-0-3 on Ziwa, 9-1-10 for Peternet. Unbelievable performance from the entire team, really. Even Jiraxis, didn't have the kills, but 1-0-14, helping to set everything up for them.
Yeah, that
Scoundrel.
was... Sorry, yeah, I was just about to jump in. Sorry, Darcy. Yeah, that was a very, very quick game from these guys. Again, Audacity Gaming showing their incredible team to be sort of feared and respected. We're going to try and get into the next draft as soon as possible because of the delay here. But what do you think needs to change, Darcy? Like, what is there anything that they can change? The alpha pick was a bit odd, I suppose. Do we have to go all the way back to draft?
Yeah, the alpha pick was definitely a little bit weird from Tova Doctor. Not really huge on the meta right now. I think for a good reason. Alpha doesn't really do anything into Arden or into Idris. So when you've got those two picks already revealed to you, kind of makes not too much sense that you would go for it. This is just not historic esports that we saw take a very close game against Salty Potatoes. Well, I guess it is technically. It is the same roster that we saw lose terribly to Salty Potatoes, but not the roster that we saw take a very close game to them. So I don't know, whatever it is, if they need to switch themselves on or whatever it is, this is their time because this is the elimination bracket. This is now, death point for them, I guess you could call it. If they lose this next match, they are out.
They are indeed. Just doing some changes to the thing. I'd love to know if you guys could jump into draft and let me know when the teams get in, because again, I have no way of knowing. So just gonna do it based on what we can see from my casters. I'm getting told that
I see both sides connected.
Both sides connected. Thank you, Tasty Bacon. I'm gonna double check with I'm just gonna let them know that they need to refresh the page. But apparently apparently we have both sides in. So if both sides are in, then they should be okay. But I'll just double check, make sure everything's okay. Darcy, as I get this sorted for the next draft, but that kind of fell apart for Historic Esports. Was that just incredible play from Audacity?
Look, they're a C22. I think they've had a hell of a performance to get here. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any of that performance. Also, it is worth noting that their schedule to get here was a lot easier than it could have been. That's not to take away from them whatsoever, but they were on the bracket line that had Team Queso on it. They should have probably faced Team Queso in the winners bracket final to make it into the playoffs, but Team Queso obviously got upset by Isuba. They were also on the bracket line that had Team Gravity, and they somehow beat Team Gravity 2-0. So, that's a seed 6 team that they beated. So they've had apart from their matchup against Team Gravity, they've had a fairly slightly easier run than I guess the rest of the teams have. They've had to face against pretty hard opponents to make it into the playoffs. And since we've only seen them in the playoffs, we didn't get to see that matchup against Team Gravity. It's really hard to say what they're actually capable of. So I think for Historic, it's keep your head up, go back to basics if you need to. Try and draft perhaps some counters into their draft, picking heroes that are actually going to make your game harder. Probably not a wise move. On the B side, they'd have that option to counter pick a jungle. So I reckon that's where they need to be going, because PeterNet's early pressure with the side with Jaxor Aspire and his side just made the game so hard for Historic Esports.
Just double checking that the teams are ready to go. I think one of the players is having trouble getting one of their players into the draft. So once we get that resolved, I might have to remake the draft if it's going to be continuing, which will cause sort of 30-second delay, guys. Sorry about that. But we will get on to the way as soon as we can. Just checking with the teams. If we're good to go, and let's bring up the stats on your screen so you have something. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. Okay.
They only need one person in the draft.
Yeah.
That is the way VGA works. You only have one person in the draft anyway, so.
So teams are in the draft now. This is all good. We're ready to go. Apologies, by the way, guys, if I ever mute my microphone today. I am doing more jobs than I am used to for hosting the stream, which does make it a little bit hard sometimes.
Beautiful lead admin Blueberries is currently on a plane.
He is.
It's a little bit hard to admin from a plane.
And we sometimes have the wonderful exceptions, but it did sound like he was fairly preoccupied looking after about 1,000 babies. So it's now Scoundrel trying to run things, and Scoundrel's not the best at running things.
No problem. We forgive you. It is the draft starting though. It's going to be Baron banned out by the side of Audacity, and Idris ban comes out. Ziwa obviously made a big impact on them. I feel like they need to ban Sky or Picket in the next rotation here. We do see that that Grace is picked up. I've just learned Gravity actually forfeited to Historic, so they're one big opponent that would have really hurt them in this thing was Team Gravity. So they have had an easy run. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it, and they performed well. They've taken out an 11th seed, they've taken out a 14th seed, but they they didn't upset anyone technically.
They upset the 14 seed. That's an upset. 22 versus 14.
I feel like 22 versus 11 is an upset, but 14 versus 22 is not too much of one. They're pretty much in the same, tournament bracket group.
But at the same time, while we're talking about that for Historis, it's the same thing for the side of Audacity. I mean, they lost to a 25 seed, went into the elimination bracket, and have not faced a team that is a higher seed than them all the way through. So both of these teams have had a much easier run than you would expect through the challengers to get to this point.
I don't think ever dropping into the elimination bracket makes your run easy, because Audacity as a seed 8 should be in the playoffs. But obviously made their life a little bit harder when they did lose one of those games. So either way, we'll have to see what they can pull out here. Lyra are going to be picked up. Black Feather banned. They clearly do not want to go up against PeterNet's Black Feather here. We'll have to see what they lock in now. It has to be something like, what do you pick here? You've lost Black Feather, you've lost, it has to be Gwen or Ringo or Kestrel, and it will be the Kestrel locked in.
Weapon Power Kestrel's pretty solid. I think she's down there as one of the better carries.
I was going to say, it doesn't even have to be the Weapon Power Kestrel. You can still pick up something like a Glaive, but that's on the other side now. Glaive and Samuel going to come through. I think Kestrel does okay into Samuel if you go Crystal Power, just because you have that range, but I have a feeling this will end up being the Weapon Power Kestrel coming out for the side of Historic Esports. So their final pick very likely to be a jungler. No, they're going to go with a Jewel. Okay, we saw Best Chuck make this Jewel work, but that's Best Chuck. And so it's going to be interesting to see if Historic can have a similar sort of performance.
Damn, this is very interesting. I mean, that's the Jewel coming through. A lot of people, and including Physics, the old drafter for C9, who drafted during the Unified Live Championships, said that Jewel is incredibly underrated right now. So
I agree.
So this is a pick that obviously we've seen Best Chuck make work, but obviously plenty of other sort of people who could now start picking it up.
Assuming this is a weapon-powered Jewel in the lane and not a CP Jewel in the jungle, it might actually be a CP Jewel in the jungle. I wouldn't it wouldn't surprise me from the side of Historics.
I'm just going to give
I
need to give a quick shout out. Exceptions has come to the rescue to aid Scoundrel, who is obviously overwhelmed with incredible amounts of things.
We love Exceptions.
Exceptions. I mean, if guys of you who don't know Exceptions, he is probably God's gift to Vainglory
the most
tournaments.
Underrated person in Vainglory.
He's God's gift to Vainglory tournaments because what he does all the back end stuff. Like he does a lot of adminning, he does all the drafting work, he deals with players on the front side of things.
He records games that we don't have on the stream for us.
Exactly. Exceptions does a lot of stuff. So he is basically the unsung hero of pretty much any Vainglory broadcast, including VGA and VGL. I don't know if he helps on with VIS, but if he does, he's probably a godsend there too. So
just does that whilst being the father of a small child and a little child as well.
Exactly. He's like the ultimate dad. Anyway, I'm going to peace out now, and it's time to get into game. This is game number 2 here, where I haven't updated the scores, and I'm going to do that now.
Well, it is going to be a weapon-powered duel here, and I actually would argue that Historics have won a draft. I think that weapon-powered duel, very strong into Samuel. Grace can shut it down. I guess technically Grace can shut it down. Sorry, Gwen, but not Gwen. Glaive,
no, you were
the other G. But Kestrel's ability to poke Samuel, to poke Glaive, to kind of set up fights before they really want to go in is there. It really just depends on who gets the premier engage. And I think that's probably where Audacity have the upper hand, is because we know that they're very good at pushing an advantage and finding that. We'll just have to see if they can continue it. A fight breaking out here is going to be from KTL, knocked up with that Holy Nova. PeterNet putting out the damage. He doesn't even need Zero to come in and steal that kill, but he will and get the first blood. Now they're going to chase on to this Kestrel. Easy to kill you will be easy to kill, and that will be 2 kills going on over to Audacity Gaming.
Yeah, Historic Esports have swapped roles. Tover Doctor up in the lane this time around, but I agree with you on the draft. I feel like the side of Historic Esports has a bit of an advantage. Kestrel is so good into teams that are trying to engage on you. The counter engage that comes out of a Crystal Kestrel is huge, but unfortunately, it's the engages from the side of, oh my goodness, they find another kill in the jungle. I was watching the lane battle, and they're still going.
They are still going in the lane, just slapping at each other. Actually, easy to kill you, able to secure one of his back camps there. So, worth. If Vainglory had text chat, that would be #worth in text chat just there. Currently, though, Audacity Gaming have snowballed the hell out of this game. 1.2k gold in the advantage they've got themselves. Pretty much all of Easy to Kill You's second rotation. They've got themselves all of their rotation. Crystal set middle Treant as well. It's going to be pretty hard for them to throw a lead.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of deja vu with this PeterNet and Jiraxis getting themselves this 3-kill advantage in the early game. And they're gonna, I assume after this rotation is done with PeterNet clearing out the backs, is likely going to visit the shop, recall, get some extra items, and come out and very likely look for another invade.
I expect so. Currently, they have got themselves practically 2,000 gold in a lead. Tover Doctor is doing alright as far as lane CS is concerned. He doesn't actually have a lead. He's just got a lead because of the fact that Ziwa's gone back. So if Ziwa makes it to lane and secures all of the CS, then well, he would have done that if he hadn't just messed up the lane for him. So I guess there is technically a lead now. But it really doesn't matter. Like, a couple CS in the lane isn't going to be the answer that Historic are currently looking for.
Yeah, not at all. No, PeterNet and Ziwa going to be sharing the gold in the lane. Meanwhile, down in the jungle, Jiraxis is going one-on-one with Easy to Kill You and winning decisively.
Yeah, pretty simply. Ziwa, though, oh, he's not going to find the kill. That's so close. I wish I had HP bars. Oh, the Benediction comes in, and there it is. Kill going over to Jaxorus. Currently, Ziwa
the minion stopped the recall.
KTL. Oh, he stopped from porting. 1 second. Woo, he's getting home. Easy peasy.
Nice rocket leap from Tover Doctor. It's a lot of damage on the PeterNet, but not enough for them to secure the kill. And yeah, this is just, again, the side of Audacity really winning in just about every aspect of the game. Jiraxis is back, and again, as a captain, is just putting out so much pressure and damage. Grace is a little bit strong.
She is she does have to be careful. When her shield is down, she is actually very squishy. You know, deceptively squishy because of the fact that she's so tanky when she has her shield up. Ziwa will be able to escape the harass coming out of Easy to Kill You, but does take a lot of poke. See if Peanut's rotation here will be enough. Knocks Easy to Kill You out of stun, but oh, active camo finds a lot of damage. They have a fountain. There is no fountain from KTL just yet, so we'll have to see whether or not Audacity, with this slight item advantage, will be able to get any extra advantages for themselves.
Yeah, it looks like they want to push up pressure in this turret. And that's exactly what they're going to do. But here comes Tover Doctor.
Yep, straight on top of that. Okay. Good night, Samuel. Rest in pieces. Yeah. Reese's Pieces right there.
When you're not getting your sustain from those Malice and Verdicts in the Drifting Dark, Samuel is quite squishy. He's very susceptible to burst damage. And Tover Doctor coming in with the Sorrow Blade is exactly what they were able to do. Taking him out, getting their first kill on the board, and able to stop that push on their turret.
Certainly, and Jaxorus could have saved his life if he had used his fountain as the rocket leap came out, predicting that he would have taken a lot of damage, but those are pretty high-level plays to make. It doesn't happen very often, so it is a bit of an issue for PeterNet. This is where their composition kind of is stronger. As I mentioned earlier, I favored Historic's draft better, but it's how you play the draft that matters. And if Historic continue falling behind, then it won't really matter how strong their composition is. Do see everyone coming into the lane. That's going to be a big red button, one shot, one kill, at the same time in the same place, but none of them hit, so it's a little bit awkward.
Yeah, not an ideal situation for Historic Esports, as they're going to get pushed in again, but at some point, Audacity is just going to build up some defense, and then these massive bursts from Historic Esports aren't going to be anywhere near as effective. And see these Malice and Verdicts doing a fair bit of damage. Tover Doctor looking to engage.
Going to get knocked into the wall. Fountain comes out, but it's not enough. Jax was able to find the last hit there. They used Oblivion. Not entirely sure what the Oblivion was aimed at, but now they should be able to get a turret. It's going to be Jaxorus is tanking up, and the turret will fall down. 2,500 gold in advantage now for Audacity. May even try and take a gold mine here. Pop the scout trap. PeterNet doesn't have energy, so it will just be everyone going back to base.
And Shatter Glass for Easy to Kill You, at least doing a little bit better in the jungle this time around is Historic Esports. Tover Doctor, again, in the lane, has a pretty decent CS lead, but like you mentioned earlier, Dowsy, just having that CS lead of about 5 to 10 CS isn't going to be enough to swing the game fully in the favor of Historic Esports. They need to do a lot more work, but at least they're not falling quite as far behind as they had in game 1 at this point. It still feels like it's definitely Audacity's game to lose as Traxxas steals away with a treant from Easy to Kill You, but there's going to be a few more opportunities for Historic Esports in this game than what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, no, certainly will be, as they haven't pulled too far ahead, but this is a lovely flank. Ziwa does take a lot of damage. Tover Doctor is on top of the Samuel, but that is going to be a bit of peel coming out. One shot does tag PeterNet. That's going to be the big red button, just kind of tickling him as his health bar slowly falls a little bit. That's from KTL being put to sleep. Will the benediction come in? In fact, it's just going to be a heal, divine intervention onto PeterNet. Currently Easy to Kill You, making his way slow route towards the lane, but seems like Audacity Gaming are pretty content in pushing this wave into the turret.
Yeah, this is the way Audacity's been looking to play. Just keep pressure in the lane, as now they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, it's Easy to Kill You. Revealed himself a little bit too soon, and he will go down. Jaxorus once again able to find that last hit from KTL. Will be happily escaping. Tover Doctor maybe looking for an engage here, but that route will probably prevent it. I actually think that would have gone badly for Tover Doctor if he went in. So you can say PeterNet saved his life by telling him not to come over with that treant route. Now, an Eve of Harvest picked up here by PeterNet, obviously feeling like he's being harassed down. I feel like in this match, a Broken Myth would have been better as a first item, just because they can try and snowball with the Samuel, but if he's not finding the sustain he wants or needs, then I can understand why he may go towards an Eve of Harvest.
And so a lot of vision being purchased from KTL. You just saw their Tover Doctor pinging that they needed vision, and definitely is a very important facet of the game, especially when you have a Crystal Kestrel who's trying to sneak around and get into these positions. But oh my goodness, Audacity constantly looking for these fights. Not really getting that much damage onto from KTL that time, but they've spotted Easy to Kill You.
Oh, they have. Easy to Kill You gets taken on down very quickly. That's going to be a siege now set up without any range threat. It might be pretty easy for Audacity to take these turrets. Been a bit concerned, but we'll talk about it in a sec. Oblivion's going to knock down Tover Doctor. That's a great holding over, and that's going to be another kill going over to them. I was going to say a bit concerned by Jaxorus' lack of vision. He hasn't really gone for a huge amount of flares, huge amount of scout traps against this CP Kestrel. I feel like there's been chances where if they had a flare, they could have executed Easy to Kill You a little bit quicker. As it turns out, you know, I'm criticizing the winning team for things that aren't causing them to lose the game. It's just, you know, against a better team, these are the things that you would have to criticize them on because it's the things that can potentially lose you a game.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely fair to point out these things, even though they're winning, because this is a team that's vying for a spot in the challenge battles, a team that's trying to make it into the Vainglory 8. And like you said, this sort of stuff against a Vainglory 8 team will not get you victories. So you want to see, even if you are winning, you still need to play cleanly, and you need to play the way that you would against a potential Vainglory 8 team. So the side of Audacity, while they do have the lead, there are definitely still things that they can clean up going forward. But for now, it's just all about getting these wins as they push in once again.
Yeah, Tover Doctor will be able to block up that, but from KTL gets put to sleep once more, and it will be him going down to PeterNet's Malice and Verdict. It's very hard to kind of criticize what's going on with Historic, because I do think that they are being outclassed in just skill level alone. And so, you know, mistakes that they're making are more due to mechanical skill, game knowledge skill, just little things like that. You know, that's why I kind of preface this game with, you know, a history lesson of how they did make it to this place in the playoffs and how they kind of were given one of the easiest route into the playoffs that you could possibly get, because they made it through the winners bracket due to, you know, a forfeit, and due to that forfeit pretty much was the reason, I think. But either way, they are fighting. They chased very deep here. Not really a great idea when you don't have the damage to execute. That's going to be Tover Doctor getting away for now. Jump jets, rocket leaps out. One shot may, nope, Jaxorus blocks it up. PeterNet won't find the harass of that. And Audacity happily just set up in the center of the map here. They've got a full gold miner that they can go for once they've taken out From KTL here. From KTL has very little escape, but Ziwa low on energy, Crystal Sentry threatening. Didn't really feel like they needed to go for that.
So 9 kills to 1. A 6,000 gold lead for the side of Audacity. It feels like they are very much just on cruise control at this point, looking to make it into the next round of this elimination bracket. They've played the maximum amount of rounds to this point, and looking to get themselves at least one more, as they have, again, it's been a very tense road for them through the elimination bracket from the very start, but they have made it work to this point. And up against Historic Esports, they are not looking like an elimination bracket team. As now Tover Doctor.
He does get the rocket leap away. Ziwa will have his Afterburn knockback blocked. Tover Doctor putting down that big red button, but that's going to be easy to kill. You put to sleep and probably just blown up where he stands as Ziwa dives in, finds the kill. Now Tover Doctor with his back turned, going to take a bit more damage. Here comes the Malice and Verdicts into the turret though. They're just looking for the end here at Dusty Gaming, and I certainly feel like they need to as well. Just get this one over and done with. PeterNet though can't 1v1 Tover Doctor, so Ziwa comes in to save him. That's going to be a rocket leap, kind of just going the wrong direction. We'll have to see if they can finish now, or whether or not Easy to Kill You coming in will be enough to stop them. Doesn't feel like the CP Kestrel will be able to, but she's going to start throwing some glimmer shots away. Ziwa hits her once, down to 3/4 of his HP. He's looking for an assassination onto PeterNet. 1 glimmer shot, 2 glimmer shots, 3 glimmer shots. but it's not enough. Peternet escapes, one shot doesn't connect. That will be GG going over to Audacity Gaming. They find themselves winning this series against Historic Esports, and they will be in the consolidation final.
And congratulations to Audacity making it all the way through the elimination bracket. Will now be playing for a spot in the challenge battles. Regardless of how the next match goes, they are not going to have an easy matchup, though, as that is two very, very strong teams that will be facing off to determine who gets that honor.
Pretty simple stuff, I think, there, Scoundrel. It's not pretty hard to really analyze this game. Historics
Absolutely.
made a very valiant run into the playoffs here, but definitely the better team won.
I think that's the case, and I think Audacity Gaming deserve their place in the next round, and they have moved on in the playoff bracket. Now, I need to rattle on with a bit of admin work, you could say here. So let me show you the status of the playoff bracket right now. If I show you, now you can see the 2-0. Audacity Gaming have made it to the consolidation final in the losers bracket, or the losers bracket final, elimination final, I guess you could call it as well. The winner of that, and then they will play the winner of the XL Team Queso game. The winner of that then secures the final spot in the challenge battle position. So that is the game to win. Audacity Gaming are one game away from having a secured challenge battle position right now, which means we are going to move on to our next game, which is going to be XL Esports versus Team Queso. And obviously that is a pretty big one. So we're going to cut to a very short break, and when we get back, we'll have it all set up and ready to go.
Stars, we're dancing in the
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VGL Summer Split 1. We are moving into our next game of the day, which will be between XL and Team Queso. It's going to be a pretty big series because this is sort of the closest seeding match I think we're going to have, apart from later on when we have the first and second seeds battle up against each other. But what's interesting is we basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the playoff bracket right now, which I find kind of funny. It's sort of a testament to the seeding process that we have here at VGL. Well, we kind of basically have our almost top 8 teams making it to playoffs in this current split. Tasty Bacon, we are going to get the teams ready to go. And hopefully when they're all in draft, we can launch things off. I will get confirmations from my wonderful assistant. I think both teams are ready for draft. So actually, we're going to jump into it straight away, Tasty Bacon.
Awesome. I am ready for this. This is going to be an incredible matchup. Again, Seed 3, Seed 4. The argument can be made that both of these teams should be in the challenge battles, but only 3 teams are able to get there. And unfortunately for them, one of these 2 will not be one of those 3. And so we're going to be finding out in just a few moments which of these teams will have the upper hand, as the draft is just about set. I think should be kicking off fairly shortly. And again, Team Queso and XLVG. Team Queso, I mean, they had that massive upset against them at the very start and have had to just cape their way through the elimination bracket. But they've done a great job through that elimination bracket. I believe they haven't lost a single game since. Nope, they did lose 1 game to Memento Mori. Just kidding. But they've been able to just have this run through the elimination bracket. Have been looking much more like the Seed 3 that we expected since they had that upset in the first round, and now going to be looking to get into the 1 match away from the challenge battles.
Well, that is the first ban, Black Feather, which you feel is targeted against Mr. Keiko. I think everyone can make that assertion that Mr. Keiko receives the Black Feather ban 9 times out of 10. XL take the A side here despite being the lower seed. That's because they've come from the winners bracket. And you're right, Team Queso have been on a rampage. XL was stopped in their tracks by Calamity Reborn. I don't think anyone can blame them for that. Calamity Reborn are obviously the best team in the tournament that we have so far. Salty Potatoes can look to prove that otherwise, but Calamity Reborn are the favourites to take first place here in VGL. And it is a prioritisation on Grumpjaw here for XL Esports. Now, that is usually, for XL, a Grumpjaw captain for Nomad Vagabond, although it could be going to Cortez in the jungle, as Baron is prioritised by Team Queso, and immediately a ban of Idris comes through.
Yeah, and I feel like right now the strongest spot for the Grumpjaw is in the jungle as a weapon power. But it's interesting to see that they put the emphasis on Grumpjaw over Baron. Both of these heroes are very similar in what they're looking to do, and that is, jump in and just blow up a target. There's so much damage packed behind both of them. The Arden taken off the board as well is really limiting the captain pool, and so Lyra gets grabbed up very quickly by Queso. So your only captain option, unless the Grumpjaw is going into the captain role, is going to be things like Catherine. You could maybe see a flicker. We saw 1 flicker in VG8 from Cloud9, but I have a feeling that they may just be putting this Grumpjaw in the captain spot because of the fact that you don't ban away Arden when you don't have the next pick if you don't have your captain set already.
Cortez can take CP Kestrel to the jungle. I know that's something that he is pretty fond of. But Bongmabu does also play a pretty solid weapon power Kestrel in lane as well. Darcy, I understand that you have made your way back to us. And what do you think of this draft so far between these 2 teams? If he unmutes his microphone on Discord. Which he's not going to. Okay, well, I will carry on. I'm thinking about, okay, Jewel comes up for Bongmabu. This is going to be CP Kestrel for Cortez in the jungle. It's one of his mains. And obviously then we're going to be seeing Nomad Vagabond's Grumpjaw captain, which is generally the strategy that XL tend to take when they pick a Grumpjaw early in the draft. We're looking for a round out here for Team Queso. If you are on their side of things, they're going to pick up the Samuel. Okay, so that's the Dark Ghost Samuel, which is a very, very good pick for him. So that's going to be the round out compositions here. Tasty Bacon, what do you make of them?
I think both teams have a pretty solid draft on their own, but I have to favor Excel's draft a little bit just because I think they have a really great way to deal with this Samuel. Baron is going to it's going to be very hit or miss. I think it's going to come all the way down to just positioning and execution. Obviously, Jewel, if she can jump onto the Baron, if they can get Baron to try and engage onto the Kestrel, like those are both ways that they can blow up this Baron. But that's going to be the most important part for them is if they can take out this Baron early in a fight, then the fight should go to Excel. But if Baron is able to survive, is able to stick around on the back lines and ends up with a lot of priority on the Samuel, then I feel like Team Queso should be able to take it with just Baron being able to survive.
Absolutely. Well, Dalsy, you are now back with us.
I was here the whole time.
Yeah, definitely been here the whole time. We are jumping into the game now. You've seen the drafts come out. I think, Dalsy, hopefully you've had an indication of what's been picked up here. What do you make of these two drafts? It's the duel for Bongmaboo. It's the Grump Jaw for Nomad Vagabond, Cortez on CP Kestrel, going up against Kekul's Baron, Perez on Lyra, and then obviously Dark Ghost on Samuel.
I'll take over here from here, Scoundrel, and give my points so that you can fall back into the background, as it would be a pretty awkward transition otherwise. I really dislike CP Kestrel into Baron. Like really just dislike CP Kestrel into Baron because your team requires you to be able to get on top of Baron, do damage to Baron, follow up, jump in. You've got a Grumpjaw and you have a Jewel. They're going to look to jump on top of Baron, try and blow him up. Cortez can't do that. He can't get anywhere near. He has to try and fire glimmer shots from afar or one shot from afar. So the CP Kestrel doesn't really suit your composition's wishes. There could have been a better pick that came from him. Sky, for example, could have jumped in with the team. It has the target lock series strike ability to follow up with a full barrage. So there's probably better CP ranged heroes to pair with this composition. It's not to say that XL have lost it. It's just to say that we've seen this in the VG8 before where CP Kestrel has been picked into Baron and has just kind of felt left out. And because she's felt left out, the team has lost. Because when Kestrel gets sad and feels left out, then what can she do? Either way, that's some weird analysis. Tasty Bacon save me.
The key here is going to be if they get complete vision control on the side of Excel, then you get the situation where Kestrel can go full stealth mode, Mission Impossible, and sneak up underneath the Baron, put down another active camo trap, and blow him up.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often because it requires your opponents to not really have any vision control whatsoever, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, no, technically it is a possibility. If that happens, I would be amazed. Hands down amazed.
It's probably one of the greatest plays to make. If you do pull it off, it feels so good, though.
Because, if you don't pull it off, then Mr. Keiko jump jets to the side and shoots 2 rockets into your face and you get died. That is the stakes. One full crit could just kill you depending on the damage that Cortez has already taken. So
that's why it's Mission Impossible.
It is 100% Mission Impossible there.
But either way, right now, looks like Cortez maybe... Nope, okay, they're moving. I think they were just playing it very safe, expecting Queso to be here, looking for this Ancient Treant, but they're going to go ahead and just take that for free. So the patient game pays off for the side of Excel, and they get themselves a little 400 to 500 gold lead to kick off this game. And now they're looking for PRZ. Oh no, Mr. Cake will maybe the target.
Yeah, this is actually quite an interesting lane matchup. We'll have to talk about it in a sec, because Dark Ghost has rushed in looking for Nomad Vagabond here. Has a bit of damage, drifting Dark up in a second. He may throw it out just for the snipe potential. Nomad does take a lot of damage, but he should be able to get away. A really interesting matchup here, because you would think that a double range into double melee would have the advantage, but actually when it's Grumpjaw and it's Jewel, I actually reckon the advantage is there for Bongmaboo and Nomad Vagabond. Those Thunder Strikes do a hell of a lot of damage in the early game to Mr. Keiko. And Nomad Vagabond's ability to just threaten the ability for Bongmaboo to jump on top of you, chase you, easily hit a rocket leap because he slowed you with his hangry, makes this very hard. PRZ obviously can heal Mr. Keiko up and can poke from range, and Lyra's auto attacks are very obnoxious to deal with as a melee, but because of Jules' heroic passive and just be able to frontline by facing the damage as it arrives. She won't actually take anywhere near as much harass. With the Book of Eulogy, she'll heal nice it up. There's a Ironguard contract on the side of Nomad Vagabond. So a double melee lane into double range, and double range being Lyra, is actually probably got an advantage in the early game. So that's just an interesting dynamic that you don't often see.
Yeah, well, especially against the Baron, too. Baron doesn't have the greatest of early game damages. It's really once he gets the first item under his belt that he starts to become a massive threat. So you saw there, the only way that Team Queso was able to actually pressure the lane of Excel was by having all 3 members up there. And during that time, Cortez was just farming up. So it's created a little bit of a disparity between the junglers. But it's, like you said earlier, it's going to be the main focus of this game is, will Cortez be able to have an impact? And during the laning phase, it's actually a little bit easier because obviously your opponents are generally going to be pushed up a little bit, and you'll have opportunities to get those glimmer shots down.
Yeah, certainly. XL, they need to snowball this game in their favor just so that they can try and prevent the Samuel and the Baron from scaling up. There's a great mid-game lull where Samuel has finished his Frostburn, is building towards his 2nd or 3rd damage item, basically in between Broken Myth. That XL have a really good chance of just blowing up Dark Ghost. And if they blow up Dark Ghost, then they win the team fight, pretty much hands down. If they blow up Mr. Keiko, not as easy. I feel like they need to focus down Dark Ghost. I have to see, PRZ takes so much damage. Here comes the Rocket Leap. That's going to be a fountain. Is it enough to save the lives? This is kind of the issue. Cortez, no energy, but could have been even followed up if he wanted to. You're already starting to see this awkward dynamic that is CP Kestrel with 2 dive heroes playing out.
And it's really going to be relying for Excel on Team Queso, engaging on them and getting out of position. And Team Queso, when they play up to their potential, that's not something that happens very frequently.
Yeah, it's going to be this turret taken down, a fountain actually used because they didn't want to entertain the idea that Team Queso chased them. It's going to be already a early lead over towards the side of Team Queso. XL, though, they need to tighten up here. Cortez needs to find the gold for a Shadow Glass. He's kind of split his build a little bit. Does have it now, but buying that crystal bit, the energy battery did delay it. It's a 6-minute Shadow Glass there, pretty late to be honest. Bongma Bu has got his Sorrow Blade. He's starting to build towards his first crit item. Mr. Keiko hasn't quite got enough gold to finish his Sorrow Blade. So this is a great opportunity now for the side of XL to start trying to blow someone up and find an advantage for themselves. I fear that if they don't, get themselves a gold lead within the next 3 minutes of the game, then they potentially lose it. But they are going to look for this gold miner. Nomad Vagabond able to move nice and deep towards the Samuel, stop him from stealing, and that's going to be a one-shot, tagging PRZ. XL not quite able to find enough damage, and they've lost their engage. Bongma Bu will get put to sleep here. XL need to fight, they need to threaten as Mr. Keiko is going to jump forward, looking for Nomad Vagabond. Ooh, that delivers it to Cortez. That's a lot of damage over onto Cortez as well. Nomad's used his fountain. There's not much re-engage, I don't think, unless Bongma Bu dives in on top of Dark Ghost. He's looking for the Thunder Strikes, a lot of damage. One more will do the trick. He has to find it, though. He isn't able to. First Blood going to go over to Dark Ghost. Cortez will go down for a double whammy, and that's going to be the gold lead swinging back over to Team Queso.
Gold lead's been in favor of Queso since they got that turret, and it's going to continue to grow now off of that first blood and the second follow-up kill as well. You mentioned that the side of Excel really need to find themselves a gold lead within the next few minutes, but that is not how you go about doing so. Mr. K-Cool just finished off his Sorrow Blade. So Tension Bow, Sorrow Blade, this is where Baron kind of starts to come online, starts to really have a lot of damage, and he already was doing a pretty hefty amount of burst. Not really going to be much defense against him on the side of Excel for some time, especially on Cortez. Cortez wants to try and go through this game without building any defense, but again, just becomes a problem with the composition for Excel in that they can't really deal with this Baron unless all three members get in and focus on him, and only two of them have the ability to do so.
Yeah, Cortez isn't going towards a double Shadow Glass route. He's actually looking to build some cooldown reduction, go towards a Clockwork, it seems, as the second item. I feel like this is a mistake. XL need as much burst damage as possible. Mr. K Cool does get hit, but needs to be the engage now. A PRZ just heals Mr. K Cool up to full. Nomad, level 6, has stuffed. What can they make with this? There's a huge power spike for them as they now have the ability to swallow up the captain, swallow up, and there it is. Straight onto PRZ, swallows him up, going to drag him straight into a trap. No, he's able to block it. The Oblivion doesn't quite connect, but Nomad gets pulled to the other side of the wall, and he will be taken on down. This big red button won't do anything. XL are starting to lose this game.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for them, but Queso playing this exceptionally well. Excellent job with that block. As soon as you get spit out, you know that they're going to be trying to set up that combo of stuffed into an active camo trap. PRZ was ready for it. You have such a small window when you get spit out to pop that reflex block. That's going to be another one shot onto Dark Ghost. And I could see the idea here with getting the cooldown reduction for Cortez. You want to try and get those one shots out as frequently as possible. It's probably the best way for Kestrel to be involved in the this poke and trying to get the opponents low before the full engage happens. But you're up against Elvira. PRZ is just going to throw down those sigils much more frequently than you can throw out one shots and heal up their team. So again, it's just going to be an uphill battle for Excel, and it's sort of a self-inflicted uphill battle that they're facing.
Oh, 100%. They knew they were up against Baron, and this is the composition that they went down. So, you know, they clearly felt like they could play this block composition, and I have no problems with Grumpjaw or Jewel in this composition. It is just this Kestrel pick that doesn't quite synergize very well with Dive. That is the issue. Now, what Kestrel can do, and you've already mentioned it, is that she can set up the dive by landing a one-shot onto a key target. But that then requires XL with Wall Treads, and they need it very soon. They've got Crucible, they've got Fountain, let's go to Wall Treads next. Wall Treads in immediately, jump on top of that target that just got one shot and blow them up before PRZ has the chance to sustain heal them.
Yeah, and also setting up those active camo combos is also going to be incredibly important to try and get one of these targets eliminated. And this Cortez is going to be just trying to set up something here, perhaps looking to maybe just scout out information. They get just a basic attack onto PRZ. I'm not sure if that was entirely intended because they reveal, but they're trying to find some damage on the PRZ. PRZ is going to take a little bit, but Mr. K Cool and Dark Ghost, they are right around the corner and ready to engage if they find the opportunity.
I'm super against Cortez current build path. Clockwork, okay, I could justify it. Oh, Mr. K Cool's inside of an active camo does take a huge chunk of damage. The one shot comes out, gonna land onto Dark Ghost, 2 carries. Very low. They need to push turret, and they need to push it now. Jewel takes these very quickly, and I'm sure that Bongmabu will be able to get the turret. Cortez's build path makes no sense. He's against a double squishy, and he's going a broken myth as his third item. Should have just gone double shadow glass. Would have been far more effective in being damaged. Baron is so unlikely to build, you know, much defense, and so you know he's probably forced to build armor more so than or Slumbering Husk more so.
Yeah, it's Slumbering Husk looks to be.
That Dragonheart is most likely going to be a War Treads, but yeah, no, like Mr. K Cool's defensive item is probably going to be focused on Bongmabu rather than Cortez, just due to the fact that Bongmabu is the one who's going to be diving his face. So double shadow glass would have easily ripped through Mr. K Cool. Dark Ghost not going to get in Aegis for quite some time. Yeah, it's hard to see when you've already picked a composition that, you know, is going to struggle to then see perhaps poor itemization options.
All right, well, we'll see if they can make it work. Looks like, oh, is this the Mission Impossible play?
He's done it! Oh, it gets blocked, but he does the damage. Mr. Keiko gonna start just dying. Dark Ghost won't take the one shot. It is blocked by PRZ. Cortez did the unthinkable, stepped up an active camo, but look at Dark Ghost. He is doing work. Cortez might be able to find a kill here. Dark Ghost knows there's a trap. They're looking for him, but he's just been spotted super far away. PRZ won't be able to chase on down, it doesn't feel. Has one more flare. We'll look to reveal them. Oh, he steps into a bush that is got a scout trap in it, but it looks like he's done the distance. Escaped. Brightbark won't put him out of his misery. Dark Ghost, though, going to take a bit of poke damage as Cortez does his best to tell him to stop taking the Crystal Sentry. Man, this is a hard game.
It really is. They got the setup. That was what they were looking for. getting that the Mission Impossible active camo trap, but they got the kill, but they didn't respect the damage that was going to come out from Dark Ghost to follow up, and Dark Ghost able to find 2 kills for himself. So now that they clear out a little bit more vision, again, the vision is so important in this game because of the fact that that's the only way Cortez can get himself onto those back lines is by not being spotted by a flare or a scout trap. And you got to figure it's PRZ, maybe end up going for a contraption this game just because there is going to be so much vision getting put down. And once your opponent grabs contraption in a game like this, it almost forces then Nomad Vagabond to do the same thing. If it does happen, it won't be until much later because PRZ is perfectly happy just having 2 item slots dedicated to vision.
Mr. Kegel's in it! Oh, but there's the Slumbering Husk. PRZ will go down, but can they do enough? They swallow up the Samuel. He's still out there. He's going to get popped into another. Nope, not quite able to. Oh, Mr. Kegel dives forward! He's got to find 1 kill, but he's going to lose his life. Surely he does. Cortez finishes the job. That Slumbering Husk is paying off so much for Mr. Kekel, but XL finally find an ace.
Yeah, Slumbering Husk is just I feel it's one of the most underrated items right now. It's starting to be built a lot more frequently, but because we're in such a burst-focused meta, like a lot of teams really like these burst heroes, Slumbering Husk is the best item against straight burst. And you saw what it did there for Mr. K-Cool. If he doesn't have Slumbering Husk, he is dead in an instant in that fight. But because of the Slumbering Husk, he was able to find 2 kills and make sure that it wasn't a complete wash for Team Queso. But great moves by Cortez, able to set up these active camo traps preemptively and just guessing where the side of Queso is going to move and getting those active camo traps down so that they can find them on the rotations. That was such a good play from Cortez.
And it's being facilitated by disrespect from PRZ. This is the only way that XL wins games. There needs to be a contraption. 4 flares, 4 scout traps in your inventory is not going to be enough to shut this down. Contraption, you need it. And then fill it up with 4 flares and 4 scout traps. If you don't build contraption, you will not be able to have full vision of the map. Understand where Cortez is consistently. Understand where these active camo traps are. And you will potentially lose this game when you have a superior team composition. It is the one win condition currently of XL. Unless somehow, Bongmabu and Nomad are able to blow up Mr. Kekel by themselves. But it just seems so unlikely right now. So PRZ, invest. Come on. You've got your
Slumbering Husk just got popped.
It did get popped. That is a pretty hefty cooldown. 1/4, PRZ gets swallowed. That's going to be Oblivion putting Nomad to sleep, but it doesn't pop him out. There it is, active camo, boom. PRZ's dead. That's going to be Nomad losing his life. Bongmabu's got a Slumbering Husk of his own, but he will go down as well. It's a double kill. That's going to be a double. Woo! Only a single active camo blowing up there. Cortez has to go back to base. And Team Queso can't really take the Kraken, but man. Oh, he snipes him! Cortez, what a god. Had vision and found the snipe. Okay, this is becoming interesting.
This is becoming very interesting. It's just the way these fights are working out. I mean, grabbing PRZ there was such a smart call because of the fact that they were able to just isolate, blow him up before really anything is going to be used to try and save the teammates. Obviously, Mr. K-Cool was able to stay alive on the backlines. Bongmabu didn't get engaged in time to try and make anything happen there. But now, are they going to actually look to go for this Kraken? This is a super risky call.
They took it so quickly, and they can bait Team Queso to engaging on top of them. Dive comps, love it when you engage on top of them. Nomad did just miss his stuff, though. And that's going to be the one-shot securing the Kraken. So much burst potential, so easy to secure that with Dark Ghost not available because he got taken down so late. It made a lot of sense to just go for it. XL now have a chance to start turning this game on its head. Mr. Kekel does jump forward. Glimmer shots will start hitting. This Kraken is going to start making its way down the lane. Team Queso can take it down before it gets too deep into their base. It should secure 1 turret, you would think. But maybe not. We'll have to find out. In fact, they lose a turret XL because they hadn't dealt with their minion wave. So
minion wave management, very important. Very, very important. So This Kraken is getting a lot of damage now. It's below half health before it even gets to this tier 3 turret. So this Kraken could actually end up working out quite well for Team Queso. Though it looks like they are going to lose one turret off of it, but that's a turret trade, and they're going to get the 500 gold from the Kraken. So overall, that's just a net gain for Team Queso, although losing the choke point turret is pretty big.
It is a net gain, but like you mentioned, losing the choke point turret is pretty big. It opens up more avenues for Cortez to find, find active camera traps around the map. XL will be okay with that. You know, it is a, don't get me wrong, like Team Queso benefited from that. They got a turret because of the weak management from, the weak wave management from XL. They got a Kraken as well. So net gold gain, everyone's on equal footing. 39,000 pretty much even across the board. Dark Ghost has finished his build as well, which is pretty huge for the team. However, XL are going to take that trade every day of the week because, apart from maybe the turret, which they could have prevented, because it's getting them closer to their endgame gold. Kestrel, Jewel will shred through turrets. No minion needed, no wave needed. They will just destroy turrets. So if they get 1 kill, perhaps even 2 kills, they can look to finish. And now, without that choke point turret there, they have a good chance. Slumbering Husk has just been popped. Cortez has his one shot up in 20 seconds. Team Queso need to look to fight.
Yeah, they really do. They need to. Even. Yeah, I figured that was what you meant because it wouldn't make sense for Queso to be like, "Oh, our Slumbering Husk just got popped. Let's go engage." Like that seems like a really poor idea. But look at this rotation.
This is what opening up the choke point turret allows them to do, is just rush down the lane straight towards the base. Nomad, though, needs to be careful he doesn't lose his life before this happens. Pops himself a reflex block. Currently, Cortez just trying to find a trap. Mr. Keiko trying to get in position. They're inside the base, and inside the base, there's no scab traps. Mr. Keiko into a trap. Dark Ghost gets eaten on up. He is still alive, though, and they can turn this fight. Fountain comes out. Mr. Keiko should take down Nomad. Oh, he takes out both with a double rocket. It's a triple for Mr. Keiko. You cannot deliver rockets to your Kestrel, Nomad. That is how you lose a game.
That's the second time Nomad Vagabond has done that as well. Just a rocket delivery system for Mr. K-Cool by targeting this Grumpjaw as he's trying to run away. And I didn't quite catch it, but I'm pretty sure the stuff was actually blocked by a Bright Bulwark going down as well during that fight. So Team Queso just able to get that ace. This is going to be a huge turnaround. That was such a good position for the side of XL. That was so smart to just rush the lane, go to where there's not likely to be much vision set up yet, and try and find a fight there. There was a huge burst onto Dark Ghost, but there was no ability to follow it up.
Yeah, no, this is where things get really tough. XL could look for a backdoor if Jewel can make it somehow, but I think it's just going to be very unlikely. They've spotted out the traps. They've spotted out Cortez. They have 3 flares left. There is still no contraption. Bit of an issue. PRZ almost steps into a trap. In fact, Mr. Keiko's on top of it, gets stunned, bursted, but that's going to be a huge iron cannon. That's the first choke point turret going. Team Queso may just take it, walk away. I'm not sure if they look to finish just yet. Where's Jewel? Jewel's looking to backdoor. Oh my god, Jewel's looking to backdoor the game! Bongmabu's going for it! This is disastrous! XL can't defend the base, I don't think! Dark Ghost gets popped, Cortez will go down, it's Bongmabu making it to the base, but he just doesn't have the damage to do this in time! First turret goes down for Bongmabu, but that's going to be the choke point turret going as well! This should be game to Team Queso. I don't think Bongmabu outbeats them! He's onto the Vein Crystal turret, but so are Queso, and Queso will finish it off! Not quick enough, Bongmabu. Close, but no cigar. Wow. Okay. And that is game 1 of this incredible series that is Team Queso versus XL.
You gotta give them credit for making that attempt, though. I mean, it ends up being... It's one of those plays where if it works out, you are an absolute hero and you go down in history as one of the best shot calls of the challengers. If it doesn't work, you end up looking a little bit silly. So XL, at least they went for it. They recognized they were in a very bad spot and tried to make the play work, but just not quite able to pull it off. And Team Queso, it was not a clean game whatsoever for either side, but they are the ones that come out on top. And You know what? At the end of the day, the win looks the same on the overlay.
Wow. Incredible, Scoundrel. What did you make of that?
That was pretty insane. I actually don't think the call was that bad from Excel to go for that. But I think that the way that they played the defense wasn't good enough. The problem I had during that game, Nomad just tanked way too much the Drifting Dark, Malice and Verdicts from the Samuel, especially like even before fights started. Took so much damage, and 2 times, like you said, delivered rockets directly to Cortez, who just not built to take that kind of rocket damage. Like if he even gets the splash damage from the Baron, he's dead.
Team Queso knew that was happening, by the way. Like, Bongma Boo walked over 2 scout traps on his route towards the base, so Team Queso knew that they were basically racing a backdoor from the duel. Bongma Boo didn't have upgraded shoes, I don't believe. He didn't have journey boots, so that kind of was... I mean, maybe he did have journey boots. It's hard to tell, but either way, that is... What a crazy way to end the game.
Man, I don't even know what to say after that. That was so crazy. Just so intense. Just waiting for teams to be ready.
It was only literally a second and a half, and they would have won the game, Excel. That's how long they needed to hold out for. A second and a half. Oh, man. Like, that just goes to show that Excel made a good call there.
Oh, God, yeah, I mean, if they had just played a little bit further from range, maybe 1 or 2 glimmer shots had landed a bit more effectively, they might have had an opportunity. Maybe Nomad hit stuffed and drew someone to turret. That might have been all that it took to win the game.
Right.
But it was so close between the two. I think that was the better play. That's what a duel can do. That was the play to make. That is the duel play. Thunderstrike just absolutely destroys turrets. But goodness me, that was such a close series between these two. I mean, I'm expecting a big things from Game 2 now. They've kind of set the stage for a very, very big brawl. Queso 1 game away from securing themselves the... Well, they've never been in the playoffs before, so this is about as far as they've got. The addition of Mr. K-Cool seems to have been a really, really good addition to this lineup here, Dalsy.
Yeah, no, certainly has. Mr. K-Cool in the lane now. We've seen him often in Challenger Series in the jungle. He's been performing so well. His hero pool's so big, Mr. K-Cool, which just allows so many different options for Team Queso. He's shown that his Idris is fantastic. His Baron is fantastic. His Kestrel is great. We know he plays box well. Ringo and Gwen, you know, how can you not play them well when you're this good? So he's got all of the choices when the weapon power tree is concerned. Since he plays jungle, he knows how to play heroes like Scarf, Celeste. Like his hero pool just opens up so many avenues. We saw his Rona as well, Scoundrel. He's got stuff like Backfeather and Rona. So Team Queso have really been strengthened by this pick. I don't know other dynamics about the roster, shot calling or anything like that. So can't really dive into that. But he's having the time of his life right now, Mr. Keiko.
And draft has begun, ladies and gentlemen. So we are underway. And it's going to be this time Team Queso on A side and XL Esports will be on B. Baron is the first ban. Mr. Keiko got his hands on that last time, but doesn't want to see it in this game here, Dalsy.
You can't really first pick Baron, I don't think, on A side. It's pretty risky. And so that's why Team Queso have made the choice to ban it. We'll have to see if they lock in an Idris if it's open. I feel like they can afford to first pick Idris if they want to, and we've seen that they like that pick. Maybe they go towards a Catherine or an Arden instead. But with so many priority picks in the game, if they pick like Idris, for example, and then ban a carry, then that's already 3 carries not available to the side of XL if XL prioritize something like Grumpjaw again.
So, Blackfeather open this time around. XL chose not to take that as their ban on B side here. This always throws up the question as to whether Blackfeather ban is still warranted versus Mr. K-Cool, because is that kind of a thing that Mr. K-Cool is going to pick in first now? Is with Blackfeather being so unique in sort of more of a CP role these days, and Mr. K-Cool kind of more known for his weapon power Blackfeather? I don't know whether the Blackfeather ban was warranted from XL last game.
Right.
They've made changes this time round though.
I feel like the Black Feather ban was more of a I want to leave more open. I want to leave more picks open rather than just trying to take the Black Feather away. Because I agree with you. I don't think Black Feather is a threat that XL were worried about, but more they wanted to leave everything open, and so they wanted to take away a hero that was relevant to Team Queso while still leaving things open. They are actually going to continue banning Black Feather, so perhaps what I've just said is completely out the window, and they do just respect Black Feather as a hero that Mr. Keiko plays. Celeste going to be banned here. Interesting. Not sure that XL had any plans of playing Celeste, but that is going to be banned nonetheless. Now XL need to decide what do they prioritize in the lane. Will it be Bongmabu's Vox? I feel like
it's interesting because Bongmabu is a big, and Cortez are both big Celeste players, and with a Nomad Vagabond probably be giving his first hero, his best hero, I was maybe thinking they might have been going for a heavy peel composition for a Celeste, so maybe sort of Queso read that there, but Samuel is prioritized for Cortez. Takes it away from Dark Ghost.
Ghost, yeah.
But they have gone for basically counter-picking lane at this point, which is something that we don't often see a huge amount of.
And actually, Dark Ghost plays a pretty good CP Black Feather as well. So by banning the CP Black Feather and taking away the Samuel, they're putting Dark Ghost onto a hero that he might not be as comfortable on. Does open up a bit of counters. Kestrel with a one-shot can threaten Samuel. Malice and Verdict, when it's empowered, will outrange the Kestrel, but obviously that's not going to be all the time, so I guess Glimmer Shots are more consistent. Idris can blow up Samuel if he gets into the right position. So right now we need to see a really strong weapon power carry. Vox is a skill matchup, can work. I'm thinking you go something more aggressive than that. Perhaps a Rona, perhaps like
I don't even mind Jewel again. I really don't even mind Jewel again. But they're going to go for Gwen here, a hero that we have not seen. We've not seen a huge amount of Gwen recently here, Dalsy. Idris was banned last time because Mr. Keiko got Baron, but Mr. Keiko knows a thing or two about Idris. He has been playing a lot of it recently and will be going up in lane against Gwen. I don't know how I feel about the Gwen here. I guess they're going for a burst-heavy composition on two fairly squishy targets, but I don't know. Gwen seems like easy pickings for an Idris.
He is. Like, Idris counters Gwen, Idris counters Samuel. You've picked a weapon power carry that can easily be blown up by Idris, can easily be outplayed. Ace's High is a long cast animation, and so Idris can clearly block that with a reflex, a shroud step, a shimmer strike. Yeah, I don't know. This seems very, very dangerous by XL.
Well, if it works out for them, their draft will obviously be rubbing our noses in it, but they do have a lot of work to do to get it sort of underway. You have a bit of an early power spike with the Samuel and the Gwen. Maybe they can look to use that. We'll have to see. Tasty Bacon, what do you make of the whole situation?
I basically have to agree with everything you guys are saying, although we said not quite as, it wasn't quite as clear, but we also were not huge fans of some of the draft decisions from XL in game one, and they very nearly took that game. So we'll see if their just on the fold performance can overcome what looks like some very clear draft inadequacies from the side of XL this game.
Anyway, that's me done, gentlemen. It's the next game here between XL and Queso.
Thank you very much. Guys, it's going to be a very interesting match. These guys are playing for a challenge battle slot to be happening very, very soon. In fact, happens next week, I believe, the 22nd and the 23rd of June. And actually, challenge battles have been changed. We now have a round robin. It's not just one best of 5. It's many, many games with everyone playing each other.
A whopping 9 series for the challenge battles. It's going to be intense. And that's what these teams are playing for. You have to win this one and then win one more game, one more series to get yourself into those challenge battles. But if you don't win this one, then your chances become 0 as you are eliminated from challengers. So it's XL and Team Queso. Again, Team Queso has the edge here in terms of both being up 1-0 in the series.
Almost stole that. Would have been
nice
a hero play, especially considering Mr. Keiko rotated, but unlucky.
Triple impale. No rotation from Bongmabu. Just wanting to stay up in this lane and keep farming. And, I mean, on this Gwen, you're going to need as much farm as you can get against this Idris. So Ooh, nice impale again.
No follow-up though. Cortez, Madison verdict was down. Bongmabu was hard farming. He's looking to try and get that Tension Bow online as quickly as possible. With Tension Bow, he can punish Idris pretty hard for the first 5 levels of this matchup. Bongmabu will need to punish really hard if he wants to snowball this game, though, and that will rely Cortez to roam up, and it will rely Nomad to be on point with his impales.
Especially with Mr. K Cool having a book of eulogies, like if you get bursted, and you just gotta sit back, wait for your minions to come into you, and then you just farm them up underneath your turret and get yourself healed up. So it's not even the end of the world if you do fall a little bit behind. But right now, Bongmabu again going to be having help from Nomad Vagabond in trying to just clear these waves as quickly as possible. He said it's just all about getting that first tier 3 item online very, very early. Looking at the items, it's actually a slight item lead for Mr. K Cool. Obviously went back to buy a little bit later than Bongmabu on that first shop visit. So let's see how this ends up working out for now. It's a slight CS lead, but that is a big, big wave that is building up for Mr. K Cool.
And XL, if they rotate Cortez up now, will actually be able to really punish Mr. Keiko and stop him from getting it. Instead, it's the opposite. Team Queso rotating up to ensure that Mr. Keiko gets this entire wave. I feel like that's an error, but Cortez will be considering that he just wants to try and get as far ahead of this Kestrel. If they're able to deny any of this farm from Mr. Keiko, then they're in a great position. But instead, Dark Ghost looking for this first blood. Almost gets it as well. That's Bongmabu going to be forced back earlier than he would have hoped for. Cortez going to come up too late, and he will do too little because of it. It's going to be the items picked up for a Tension Bow, but he's still considerable amount of gold away, another 500 gold necessary.
And not only that, but Bongmabu has actually had a CS deficit against Mr. K Cool because of that pressure Dark Ghost was able to put out. Bongmabu basically missed almost an entire wave just because of having to play so cautiously underneath this turret. So excellent job by Queso with that rotation. I think said Cortez definitely missing out on a big opportunity for Excel to try and get a lead over this Idris. And if you give an Idris a lead, you are just asking for trouble.
Yeah, like Idris will play fine from behind most of the time, especially into double squishy. So you kind of just asking for trouble regardless at this point. And so XL really going to struggle to get this. They need Cortez, and they need him now. Bongmabu has Tension Bow. He needs to go buy it. The shop is open. Go get it. But he can't because the minion wave is being pushed against him because Team Queso are threatening with Dark Ghost in lane. Cortez is here, going to move forward, going to put some poke down onto Mr. Keiko. Bongmabu will be able to go back or go to shop and get himself the Tension Bow. Much necessary, but it looks like XL going to stick around for a little bit, get this turret pushed in, try and deny as much gold off of Mr. Keiko. This is what they needed to be doing earlier. Instead, they're doing it later. Perhaps they can get some damage onto the turret. Perhaps they didn't even pick up a kill into PRZ here. Good Giffy and War will stun him up. Now XL finally playing to their win conditions, but perhaps 2 minutes too late.
Yeah, it was really good to take advantage of the time where Dark Ghost was not in the lane, but you also have to worry now because they spent so long doing that. Dark Ghost makes his way up, cancels the recall from Nomad Vagabond. Almost got to wonder if they may have been better off letting that recall go through because then they know they have a little bit of time.
Because the Nomad wants to buy Fountain. So if Nomad can't buy Fountain and a fight breaks out, then that is an advantage over to Team Queso.
But Nomad can just walk down to the shop if he needed to. Like I feel like if they let him recall, they could have just pushed in, gotten a lot of damage on this turret because they knew the other two were not there either with no captain. It just opens up a small window of opportunity. Otherwise, Nomad, I mean, like I said, he could have just walked down to shop, pick up the Fountain. He gets the recall off anyway. No fight going to happen. If you're going to cancel the recall to prevent a Fountain purchase, like it ends up being a very insignificant play. But
it's not to cancel it. It's to take control of the tempo. Like stopping it back, even by a couple seconds, ruins XL's tempo. As it stands, Team Queso haven't punished that tempo. A better team could, or a team that's slightly more aware of this macro. This is like something that's huge in other things. Oh, Dark Ghost right up close. Bongwabu gets bursted right down. They went on to Mr. Keiko, but they didn't know that Dark Ghost was just looming right next to them. Some verdicts showing their range, power. Lots of damage going out, but not enough damage really just yet. Bongwabu has the components now to finish his heavy steel. Probably going to go back and purchase that for himself. In fact, the 6 sins as well. So the Sorrow Blade is just 1,300 gold away from him. Mr. Keiko will be able to get his Poison Shiv very shortly. XL, though, at the 7-minute mark, and they haven't found a dent yet. Something they really need to start finding.
And, well, they're currently behind in gold by about 1,000. And so Team Queso still playing with a lead. We'll see where these, where Dark Ghost's item build is going to go. Obviously, we saw last game, it was Cortez went for the why am I completely drawing a blank on the item name? Clockwork, that's what it is. Went for the Clockwork and then the Broken Myth as opposed to going for the double Shatter Glass. Early infusion's going to start coming out here for the side of Queso as well, as Dark Ghost has one in the inventory. So maybe going to be a sign that Queso wants to look for a fight.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if Queso will be able to find an advantage over their opponents with this infusion on Dark Ghost. Everyone in lane now. Cortez level 8 got his overdriven ability, as does Dark Ghost, though he has got an experience level advantage. PRZ going to drop a gauntlet. There's going to be an Oblivion put right close. PRZ able to block it. Founder comes out. Nomad's dead. That's going to be the kill going over to Mr. Keiko. Bongwabu trying to find another one, but he can't. That's him being pushed out of the lane. It's only Cortez left, and he just loses his life. EXO are falling apart right now, and Team Queso are looking good to win this series. Bongwabu!
Oh, Dark Ghost very nearly finding that third kill, but it is still going to be turret left to the minions to take down. They should be able to finish it off. Yes, they are. And that is going to then be Gold Mine started up. Dark Ghost setting up a trap, but isn't going to need to use it as the immense gold payout goes over as well. And just like that, this gold lead has taken off for Queso, as it's jumped up to over 3,000, almost 4,000 gold advantage to their side. And that fight was just so good. The gauntlet was incredibly placed. It completely split the team. Bongwabu ended up on the backside, wanted to save that tension bow proc to hit one of the squishier targets, and just ended up standing around looking for that opportunity to not hit PRZ with it until essentially Cortez was already dead. And so, Nomad Vagabond was already dead. And it just ended up being a situation where there was no damage coming out from the lane carry of Excel throughout the entire duration of that fight.
Well, Excel have infusions now. They're looking to try and start taking over this game. They need to start doing so. Cortez has his popped. Excel, Bongwabu's got his in his inventory. His turret down to half HP, but they've already lost their own. Gold is stacked against them by 3,000 at this point. Mr. Keiko, Poison Shift completed. Aegis completed as well. Pretty huge for him. Really negates this damage from Cortez and the strength that is this Samuel at this point. Really, really good purchase by the Idris at this early level. Now, XL are struggling to find openings because Team Queso are just not taking the fight. They don't need to. They don't need to be baited into a fight. They don't need to take fights that XL want to take because they've got late game and they have the ability to deal with XL in team fights. So I really like this move from Team Queso. They can now move to the shop, purchase up, infuse up, look to fight if they want to. They've got the gauntlet back up. Oblivion won't catch PRZ, able to dodge it. One shot will hit Nomad. There's the gauntlet going down. Cortez stuck in it. Ace's high doesn't connect, and Nomad Vagabond gets dropped. Cortez gets dropped, and Bongwabu's going to get chased down by Mr. Keiko. Gets dropped. It's an ace for Team Queso.
An ace for Team Queso with both of those infusions active for the side of Excel, and that is not good news. That's essentially 500 gold each. That just really didn't help them whatsoever, as they're not even going to wait for those minions. Ace with minions actually get to walk past the turret. Only one of them avoids getting dropped down to 1 health, but they are now going to just go through, clean up as much as they can across the map. Sentry gets defeated. 2 turrets down in favor of Queso, a 5-0 kill lead, a 5,000 gold advantage, and they are starting to run away with this game.
They are, and I just don't see an opener for XL now. And I'm sure the players are going to be feeling pretty rough as well. These guys wanted this so much. They trained hard for it. All fantastic players in their own rights. XL have been here before, this exact spot before. And it's where they fell last time. Now, looking for an opening, but they just aren't able to. These Oblivions from Cortez haven't been finding their marks. Nomad, unfortunately, is just not living up to the star performance that we saw from him last week. And Bongma Bu seems to be struggling as well. Perhaps it's the stress, perhaps it's the pressure. Obviously, Team Queso, formidable opponents, seeded 3rd in this tournament to the 4th of XL. This is possibly the closest matchup we'll see today. But currently, Team Queso are making it look a world difference.
Yeah, they are absolutely with a sizable lead. Nomad Vagabond can get tagged by the 1-shot. That's the best target that they could hope for it to hit at this current stage of the game. And now Mr. K Cool going to get a little bit of poke. And he does finish off that breaking point. Some good damage. Here we go.
Yeah, that's good damage actually onto Dark Ghost. Gauntlet goes down, but it stuns 2, and it's just looking so good. 1, 2, and it's a 3rd. It's an ASO for Team Queso. Pretty insane stuff for them. Now they're just going to take away this gold miner, even push the minion wave up to the turret. It's all just looking lost.
Yeah, the minion wave was already very far forward, so not much work to get it onto this turret. The gold payout comes through. The choke point turret is going to fall. And Team Queso just growing this lead 2 minutes away from Kraken spawning. And you got to figure that when she does, Team Queso are going to be in position to just take that and try and end the game. Sentry defeated for the 2nd time. Only 1 life remaining. As XL, they also seem to be on their last life at this point. If they cannot find some sort of teamfight victory, they will be getting eliminated from the challengers for this split.
Very tough matchup for them. Broken Myth finished for Cortez here. Bongma Bu, not entirely sure what he's itemizing into. It seems like it might be a breaking point, but man, it's not like the fights are lasting a significant amount of time. I don't think that will even get stacked up if he finishes it. XL got 2 more team fights left in them. 2 more bad team fights, unfortunately. And it looks like Team Queso are ready to start them off. Cortez tagged right down. Nomad trying to get in position, but look at the damage onto Cortez. He's dead before the fight even starts. Dark Ghost just forming so strongly right now. That's going to be Nomad dropped right down as well. He might even lose his life. Oh, Aces High finds the Kestrel. Good placement by Bongma Bu to snipe an invisible target. Saves Nomad's life. There will be this Crystal Sentry going down here. Eliminated from the map. 1 shot. Won't find its target. But with 20 seconds left on this Kraken, Team Queso are ready to set up and finish this one off.
And that was, I mean, they were able to find a kill even without having the gauntlet available, just by chasing down, and the flat damage that Team Queso have over XL was enough to pick up the kill. And so Cortez, Bongma Bu, and Nomad Vagabond going to have to try and figure something out. Bongma Bu gets half of their health taken out by a 1-shot. Kraken is up. Kraken is started. It looks like Queso, they're not actually super interested in this Kraken. They want to just set up for a team fight and just find a way to get in and just end this game.
Mr. Keiko may have made a mistake, perhaps too deep. Never mind, he's too far ahead. That's a great shimmer strike. Bongma Bu gets destroyed, and that's just Nomad Vagabond left alive, ready to try and run his heart out. But run from an Idris is so hard. Mr. Keiko will be diving forward with the Vanguard and looking to finish this one off. Get himself another ace. I don't think he'll be able to, though. Queso, ready, locked and loaded. They can go finish off the Kraken, or at least start it. And with a Kraken pushing in, it all looks lost.
It absolutely does. Kraken should be going over without any contest. I don't think Nomad Vagabond is really going to be able to pose much of a threat if he were even to try. It's not even, the attempt comes through, but a little bit too late. Kraken unleashed for Team Queso, and it is very much looking like they will be moving on to fight for that final challenger battle spot. And they are, at this point, just going to be waiting for Kraken to make her way into the base. There's no reason for them to get overzealous. We've seen lots of teams manage to throw games by going too aggressive before the Kraken actually gets into position. But they wait for her. She's making her way in now. One shot goes by the wayside, but you're very likely going to have what should be the final fight of the game starting soon.
XL, last chance in this game to make your mark. PRZ drops the gauntlet, catches Cortez, a late reflex block, and that's going to be this Idris. Stunned up! Cortez survives. Good aces high, nicely timed. XL defending for now. There's the Malison Verdict, there's the Drifting Dark, but here's Dark Ghost, and he's ready to snipe you to death. Nomad down to just a percentage of HP. Mr. Keiko will go down. Bongma Boo looking for a second. It's the first 2 kills, and now looking for Dark Ghost, but they have no HP, and they just line up for Dark Ghost, who finishes the game off. An ace, a series. Team Queso defeat XL, eliminating them from the VGL Challenger Series.
They lose their perfect game in the process, but I don't think Team Queso is going to be too upset about that as they take down Excel. What a strong performance from Queso in both games, really. There was a great fight from Excel in game number 1 to try and bring things back, but in game number 2, it was just all Queso all the time, and they take the victory and will be moving on to face Audacity Gaming with a spot in the challenge battles on the line tomorrow. And so congratulations to Team Queso running the gambit. Both of those teams actually running the gambit from the elimination bracket all the way through.
XL actually dropped in from the winners bracket, but
I mean, Team Queso and Audacity when they face tomorrow.
Oh,
both of them
yeah,
have gone all the way through the elimination bracket.
Got you. Yeah, no, for sure. XL, fantastic performance from them so far. But unfortunately, the better team on the day 1 completely. I think XL will be looking back at their performances and will be learning from them, Scoundrel. Team Queso, though, will be facing Audacity tomorrow for that 3rd and final Challenger Battles spot.
Yeah, it's a tough break for XL. They have tried so hard for 3 or 4 seasons now to make it through and have struggled in both sets. They'll have to go back and reflect on their performance, but Team Queso, the victors, never made it this far in the playoff brackets, are just 1 game away.
Never made it to the playoff brackets.
Never even made it to the playoff brackets, that's right. 1 game away from securing themselves a challenge battle position. Now, the challenge battles have changed over, and I guess before we move into them, I will show you how the challenge battles have changed. But let's look at the playoff bracket now, as you can see it. You can see there we have the remaining 4 teams in the competition. You will see Calamity Reborn and Salty Potatoes play next, and then tomorrow we'll probably kick things off with Team Queso versus Audacity Gaming. Those are the 2 teams in that part of the bracket there. Let's show you what's going on in the challenge battles as they have changed and the format has changed. So it's going to be a big format change this time around for the challenge battles. We're going to have a huge set of differences. I think it's going to be really, really cool to see. If you look, we have a modified round robin best of 3. Every team will play every other team, I believe, in the sense that all VG8 teams will play all challenge battle teams. So they'll have to play 3 series each. And then after all 9 series, the top 3 teams with highest win percentages will take the VG8 spots. Now, I'm not sure if that's win percentages over series or win percentages in games in series. I think there's several criteria to be met, but the best performing teams across all series will have VG8 spots. It gives a little bit of security to VG8 organizations, and also you really have to earn your spot in the VG8 now. So those are the changes to the challenge battles. Now we're going to go to a very quick break, and when we are back, we will have the next game set up between Calamity Reborn and Salty Potatoes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to jump into the next series. Leon's team, Calamity Reborn, going up against Salty Potatoes. Now, I haven't yet had the chance to update the overlays because I'm an idiot and haven't done it. So, just while I do that, Dalsy is going to talk to you about stuff.
I love it. Excoundrel, very quick to get back onto it. Forgot that he had to do that. No problem. I don't know why that made me laugh. This is such a great game, guys. Calamity Reborn versus Salty Potatoes. It's Sneaky, the Joker, classed on Salty Potatoes. We haven't seen much of them. We obviously saw their matchup against Historic Esports. Very strong roster. Sneaky, part of Reliable Union. Very much one of the soul carry of that team for so many of their games. And reason they made it through into the VGA. But up against them is Aeon, Leon, and Rerun. Pretty insane as the draft begins.
So we're into the draft. I have totally fixed everything. You guys did not see anything, and we are jumping into the draft.
What do you expect, Excoundrel? Baron ban? Do you think they'll ban Baron?
Baron ban makes a lot of sense to me. I think just the standard bans, maybe Grace here for Salty Potatoes. There we go. This is just pretty much the standard draft at the moment. I like how drafts have migrated from Baron Grumpjaw bans to Baron Grace bans. That seems to be the go-to at the moment.
Going to be Vox locked in instantly for Leon, assuming he will be going into lane rather than Aeon. Obviously, they can flex between them, and they have flexed between them before, but it's likely to be Leon in the lane, just due to that's their starting roster configuration. Now, very interested to see what we get as a response from the side of Salty Potatoes. I reckon you pick Black Feather now, so that you can get it through without it being banned. Black Feather, I think, can deal with Vox quite well. And we know that Sneaky is a very, very, very good Black Feather, but instead he's going to go for his weapon-powered Kestrel. Now, that could be flexed, could be CB Kestrel, but typically for Salty Potatoes, they've been playing at weapon power in the lane.
Yeah, very likely to be the case. And so now with the next wave of bans on deck, gotta figure, I was gonna say Lyra, maybe Arden also gets focused here just to really narrow down that captain pool, but I actually don't know if Salty Potatoes would want, or sorry, why Calamity, right? Yeah, Calamity would want to ban away the Arden, because then that leaves them with an even more diminished captain pool to choose from. So Arden and Catherine are both going to be up, very likely going to be the two captains.
Rerun has been focusing Arden in all of the drafts for Calamity Reborn, so I just 100% expect that he'll want it, and so that's a good reason to steal away. In fact, they're going to take the Grumpjaw here. Very interesting, because it will have to either go weapon power lane, CP jungle, or captain. And I'm not sure I'm a fan of Captain Grumpjaw right now.
Yeah, it's not the ideal spot for Grumpjaw. You mentioned it earlier. Grumpjaw, his best spot right now is as a weapon carry. I do prefer the Captain Grumpjaw over the CP Grumpjaw. I think the CP Grumpjaw is probably the weakest spot for it. Not that it's bad. It's just not the strongest option available, and there's many ways to deal with it. Whereas the weapon Grumpjaw is just really oppressive and difficult to deal with. So Lance is actually going to be the pickup here. And so no Arden, which is rather surprising.
Interesting you talk about the CP Grumpjaw path. I actually prefer straight up traditional CP Grumpjaw with Stormcrown, which everyone seems to have sacrificed for the Tension Bow Aftershock build, which in my opinion falls off so hard. At least with the Stormcrown CP Grumpjaw, you have a good neutral objective control and can offer something to the team even in late game, but people seem to be going down the Tension Bow Aftershock build, which I know Tension Bow's strong, but I think Tension Bow's strong when combined with more weapon power. I'm not so sure I like it just as a singular item on its own. Batiste gets locked in here. I know you play a lot of Grumpjaw, Dalsy. I don't know what your opinions lie there. I definitely think weapons are the strongest. Yeah, I think weapons are the strongest.
Like, this build was popularized by Von C at London Unified Western Championships, and everyone's just stuck to it. I don't know if it's because
I think it's good. It looked good because TSM like crush people, right?
Destroyed with it, right?
Exactly. So if you snowball with that build, it's insane. If you don't snowball with that build,
it's so hard to snowball a solo queue game. So like in solo queue, for example, Swordblade will give you so much more longevity, in Challenger Series games, I think it's probably the same either way.
Ooh.
They are going to take a Finn.
Yeah.
So where is this Grumpjaw going? Is Sneaky a man after my own heart and playing it in the lane? We'll have to find out.
And, I would love to see a lane weapon Grumpjaw come out, but they are going to be up against that Baptiste Vox. They have some pretty good range and anti-mobility on the side of Calamity with that Baptiste. So see how it works out. I like the Finn pick as well. Finn's just going to try and frontline and block up a lot of the damage coming out of this Baptiste.
So, as we go into this game, it's worth reminding you guys what we've got coming up tomorrow. And I will show you that on the playoff bracket as we go and have a look at it as we get into game. So tomorrow we will have the losers final, which is going to be between Audacity Gaming and Team Queso. We'll then have the winners, so the consolidation final, which will be the winner of the losers final versus the loser of this match. And then we will finally have our grand final to decide who wins VGL and goes in as first seed to the challenge battles. We are into the game, so that means it's time for me to peace out and hand over to Darcy and Tasty.
Thank you very much. Yep, this is going to be the winners bracket final match. Can't wait to see the result of tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's going to be very interesting as well. Sneaky, looks like he's taking the Kestrel to lane. They could go double weapon power. Now, Excoundra and I have been talking about the possibility of double weapon power coming back into the meta. Something that we wanted to test. I'm not sure we'll see it today. It's possible that Sneaky just goes down a CP Kestrel route in lane. But with the changes to Tension Bow and Bonesaw, it actually seems like double weapon power could be viable in 2.6. Just haven't done the testing really to really know for sure if it is something that you could do.
I think a lot of it depends on who you're up against, and this is a composition. Vox, Baptiste, neither of those two really like to build a whole lot of defense. Neither of them are very durable. I think double weapon would actually work extremely well into this composition. You just get yourself a bone saw and go to town with tearing through what little armor is likely to be bought. And so we'll see if that is the case. I would love to see it happen here. It was actually Humanist and I were having a discussion about doing that yesterday as well. So it's definitely something that is being thought about at least. We'll see if it's actually going to come to fruition.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see as well. I think that there is the possibilities. I do think Sneaky will just go down a crystal route. I just think that's probably going to be the more conventional thing to do here. Calamity Reborn, like, I'm not sure I agree with your point about not building defenses, because I think that you, I completely forgot. Scoundrels just reminded me of the Tension Bow Aftershock, the worst Grumpjaw build that there is. So yeah, that's probable as well from the Joker. I hate that build. Disgusting. But, that's why I forget it. But Fox can build double armor. He's fine with that. Baptiste probably very happy to do it as well. Like, often you see Baptiste and Vox finish their item builds with 3 offensive, 2 defensive. So you're just replacing your reflex block, which is an issue that you don't really want to do. That's the bit where it becomes issuous, is that you might not want to really replace your reflex block. But like I've been reminded, there is this dumb Grumpjaw build, which is just the on-hit build. I think it's weaker. It falls off quicker than the Tension Bow double monocle build that there is. So yeah, it's probable that that's the route we go down.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is what's most likely, but I'll hold out until we see the final, or until we see the second items really completed for the Joker. I'll hold out faith that it is double weapon, because Sneaky is definitely going a weapon Kestrel route, picking up the heavy steel and 6 sins on his first recall. So now going to have a fair bit of damage as long as he hits these glimmer shots.
Have to see, can they do it? Sneaky won't have a huge amount of damage to begin with. We'll start building it up, of course. Currently looking to just last hit at the moment. Calamity Reborn, fantastic roster. This is a super strong roster. Everyone expects these guys to make it into the VG8 and then dominate the VG8. Aeon, clearly one of the best players in the world. Paired with Riren and Aeon, very strong synergy. Leon and Aeon, very close to each other, in fact, in Denmark. Good friends. meet up often. So when you got that great friendship already in your team, able to meet up, it strengthens the unity that your roster faces, and that's obviously a huge thing as well. So Calamity Reborn should favorites to win everything, of course, but you know, I would never put it past Salty Potatoes to pull an upset. I think they're a very strong team and often underestimated. We do see that tension bow completed now for the Joker.
Yeah, so now it will be the next shop visit for Joker that kind of gives us the final confirmation on where they're going with this composition. Is it going to be the weapon Grumpjaw? Is it going to be the on-hit Grumpjaw? That's the only question to answer. Leon actually going for a first item breaking point. I'm not a fan of first item breaking point pretty much ever, just because it requires you to deal damage in order to build up stacks, and just going for the breaking point itself doesn't really provide that level of damage. So it's interesting that he went for that as his first item. It's not a typical Vox first item either. Even a lot of Voxes have been saving it for third item. With the current most common Vox build is Poison Shiv Tension Bow into the breaking point. So we could be seeing something different from Leon, perhaps.
It's because he's against Finn. Like he's just gonna stack on the Finn, get it stacked up, then transfer the damage over to the Grumpjaw or the Kestrel. At this point, Leon can't realistically 1v1 Sneaky. The range difference between Kestrel makes this matchup good for Kestrel. With the Glimmer Shots, with the auto attacks, Leon's going to struggle, I think, to out-damage Sneaky regardless of what his first item is. So if he takes this breaking point, he'll have nice attack speed, he'll have nice damage from the attack speed as well, because it's the heavy steel combined. And then he can start building into his Poison Shiv, and then you're back at square one again. And so I think for Leon, it's just more about the individual dynamics. Though Joker looking for rear end, there's the stuff. It's gonna bring him over into an active camo and gets blown up. That's first blood going over to Sneaky.
Excellent use of that combo. Joker does have a crystal bit, so this is going to be the dreaded Tension Bow Aftershock Grumpjaw, as unfortunate as it is. I feel like that may be a bit of a death sentence, because again, it has a very strong early and mid game, but it falls off incredibly hard as you go late. And Leon and Aeon, they're just going to scale up into the late game incredibly well. Both Batiste and Vox are so strong once you get them late, and Sneaky is going to become really the only major threat on the side of Salty Potatoes, and you got to figure they're just going to be looking to focus him down at every single fight once they get a couple more items.
Yeah, no, and we'll have to see whether or not Leon can carry it. I think he's likely to go a full crit build on his Kestrel just to really try and pack as much punch as possible. Pretty safe to throw the Glimmer Shots out. I guess the Impale is his biggest threat. Do see Joker looking for another engage, rear-ending a bit of damage. Stuff, though, not going to connect. That is the Fountain forced for the side of Calamity. Salty Potatoes, good pace right now. Able to find that one shot? No, not quite. And here comes Aeon in towards the lane with his ultimate available. Bad Mojo, Shadow Glass as well. He could definitely poke these guys back a little bit. Sneaky may not be able to find as much damage onto the turret as he wanted to.
And he said good pace for Salted Potatoes. They need to keep this pace, though, because they are such an early game focused composition and build paths. They have to just continuously try and find pressure onto really anywhere on the map, but especially on the lane is where they're going to be trying to get it the most, trying to just slow down Leon's build path. But Leon actually has a CS lead, has his second tier 3 item completed now over Sneaky. So that is giving a Vox and a lead in the lane is never a very good idea. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for Salty Potatoes to try and push in and get pressure onto this turret, because Leon now has that second item. Aeon is going to be able to rotate up and hang out in the lane, throw out those bad mojos. Their wave clear is very quick because of the AoE that comes out of the Batiste when he's there. And that's just going to mean Salty Potatoes, this is a moment where they have a slight opportunity to try and push up, try and set up so that Leon can't get back into the lane very easily. And he's actually not, he's going to go the very long way around, get a little bit extra gold with Aeon in the jungle camps. And meanwhile, Salty Potatoes just trying to rotate, trying to find any opportunities that they can right now, as that's going to be the Tyrant's Monocle completed for Sneaky. So his damage is going to be absolutely massive when he hits with those Glimmer shots, but he has to hit direct with them because it is his weapon build.
Yeah, no, and this is where I wonder how much defense will be prioritized by Aeon and Leon, considering the fact that it is this this on-hit effect grub jaw that falls off quite heavily. They might even forebode a reflex block. At least they won't upgrade to an Aegis until, you know, there's no reason not to. That's going to be a Force Accord blocked. Class does pull everyone back towards them. Sneaky's taking a huge poke from Aeon with this Shattered Glass. Starting to really just become a nuisance on this Matisse. Sneaky also struggling to find Glimmer shots that connect onto heroes here. Is able to clear the wave, but look at that bad mojo. Oop, doesn't quite connect. Would have done a lot of damage if it did. Turret takes a bit of poke. Currently Calamity just whittling away at Salty Potatoes, and Leon looking very confident as he just dives forward, clears the wave quickly so it can't even, you know, crash towards the turret. Class is very low. Leon will move forward, look to finish this turret off. Class gonna look for polite company. Joker knocked away, ordained. Rear end finds a route onto Sneaky. Does have to pop his fountain. Class takes a lot of damage. The Fearsome Shade did knock everyone back, but it wasn't enough to find a kill. Calamity though could look for a turret in a moment, I guess. As Leon continuing to threat. Can he just get the turret instead? No, Joker says, get away. They're stuffed. Rear end taken up. Gonna go try and pop him into the trap. No, he's just gonna pop him as far away as possible. And rear end should lose his life here to the turret. There's a cute pull in. That's pretty huge. But I don't think they have the damage output to follow up. Everyone's still so low. At least they'll save the turret.
And Leon was playing very aggressively there because he had the infusion active, a level 7 infusion that he had popped, but wasn't able to get a kill out of it. But they got a lot of damage onto that turret with the infusion up, and so just another push or two, and Calamity should be able to take that first turret down. However, looking at 11.5 minutes, the only kills have thus far been on the side of Salty Potatoes, but that's not really anything that Calamity needs to be worried about because, again, they are much more late game focused composition than their opponents, and they're only 1,000 gold behind at just about the 12-minute mark. So that is a perfectly acceptable spot to be at with a late game composition. There's nothing wrong with where they are currently standing in this game. They're going to be looking to move on down. Again, just keeping things even for the most part. Sneaky and Aeon just going to be doing a little bit of trading, not really anything heavy going on. Class has that Force Accord available again. The only block is the Crucible, and then Leon actually does have a reflex block for himself. But here we go.
It's going to be the Leon swallowed up here, gets spat out, but not into the active camera trap. Forced Accord pulls Aeon in, gets stunned, gets taken very low. But a good fear gonna save his life. Salty Potatoes trying to find more damage as Leon does get quibbled. It's overdriven now. Does stun Salty Potatoes. Look at the health bars. Aeon, an empowered bad mojo, could kill them all, it seems. Currently, Leon just looking for a flank, getting some damage down onto Joker. This minion wave getting taken on down. Salty Potatoes are going to start their rotate. One shot onto Rearen. This cracked turret should just go down as Aeon walks forward to finish off the job. Leon steals away a trilling Treant as well. That might even be this Finn taken on down. In fact, it should be. No, he survives. In fact, the Joker swallows up Rearen, but Rearen survives as well. No one dies, amazingly, but the turret, I guess, is someone, and it did die.
Leon was very, very lucky he didn't go down. That last turret shot that he took dropped him to just the smallest sliver of health. But, as you mentioned, the turret goes down. The only casualty in the lane throughout the entire skirmish. Leon has just been playing so aggressively dancing around between the two turrets, trying to get extra damage. And that damage has been really helpful for Calamity because it forces Salty Potatoes to have to play cautiously. They have to play back a little bit further because of that risk of Leon Ord trying to catch Leon, and it allowed Aeon to just walk right up under the turret, take it down with the minion wave, and just kind of clean up a bit. So gold is now completely even thanks to that turret take for Calamity. And despite the fact that, again, they don't have any kills on the board, they are still the ones controlling the pacing of this fight, and the momentum of the game is definitely in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. This attack speed build is meant for Leon. He's been able to secure every last hit that's come his way. He's got some jungle kits as well. His farm is incredible. Joker, though, looking for an engage, won't find it. Just doesn't do much damage, but that's a huge quibble. That's going to be Aeon swallowed up here as Leon gets focused down by the Joker, but Joker is not finding the kills. Aeon gets spat out. Founder comes out, but it looks like the first blood will go the way of Leon as he takes down the Joker. Sneaky pushing forward, finds a double kill regardless. One shot available. Can he land it? Yes, he can. It's a triple kill to Sneaky. You cannot sleep on Sneaky, or he will pull something out that you just weren't expecting.
And an ace at the 15-minute mark means this is a free Kraken for Salty Potatoes. The minions are up on that first turret. They might be able to just take that down before the Kraken is even unleashed. But that was an incredible fight. Sneaky, I was getting ready to criticize him for not throwing out glimmer shots during all that. He had some great glimmer shot opportunities lined up, but he was just all about the basic attacks, found the triple kill.
I got a little bit worried there. He got to the lane, the minions finished the job, and there was Riren and Leon waiting for him. It doesn't matter. Wow, he is very close to finishing his 4th item here. Leon has gone for a third and then defensive. Here comes the Joker. It looks like Salty Potatoes are ready for a fight. Calamity have not lost a single game yet so far in the VGL, and it looks like Riren is going to go down here. Salty Potatoes, don't sleep on them, I said, but that is a great fear coming out of Aeon. Doesn't matter. That's a stun. That's Aeon dead. Sneaky looking for another triple kill, but he should fall to the turret. Fountain will not keep him alive. Now it's Leon dancing around the Joker trying to make things connect, but it looks like Leon should be able to finish him. No, he cannot. Leon goes down. It's another ace for Salty Potatoes, and a Kraken going to take this choke point turret with the help of Joker in class.
Excellent fighting. Again, Sneaky just running rampant with this 4-item Kestrel he's going for. And it has just done absolute work into the members of Calamity. Kraken gets that second turret for herself, and that is a very, very worthwhile Kraken push. Able to take 2 turrets with the Kraken. A third was picked up and got to the lane. So huge swing side of Salty Potatoes. As you can see, they were starting to fall behind a bit. Now they have themselves a 2,000 gold lead. Not the largest of leads that we've ever seen, but if they can keep finding these fights, if Sneaky can just keep staying alive on the backside of these team fights and dishing out so much damage to Aeon, Leon, and Riren, then Salty Potatoes, they should be able to close this one out. But Calamity, they are not going to go down without a fight.
There's no armor penetration on Sneaky, worth noting because metal jackets have been completed by Riren and Leon, and Aeon is well on his way to completing his own. Sneaky so far has found a window of opportunity, but I don't know if that opportunity continues to be. Sneaky throwing out these glimmer shots, but look at Leon just diving straight on top of him. He's dead. Leon's focused him down, and it's going to be Calamity Reborn starting to turn this game around in one team fight alone. A double to Leon. This turret looking ready for the taking, and this is where things start to become a little bit scary. No armor pen, full armor. Can he pierce through is the question.
It's definitely going to be a difficult task to get that damage down now, especially with how aggressive Leon went on to Sneaky. There's no protection for him. Once he gets past the Finn, that's pretty much it. So the Joker and Class really need to do a strong job of trying to keep Leon away from this Kestrel. It's much easier said than done. Leon is very slippery with the Aegis and the Sonic Zoom. As long as he just avoids getting stunned up, he can get onto Sneaky, and Sneaky falls very, very quickly.
He certainly does. I think there's an argument to be made to sell one of his damage items here, replace it with either a Bone Saw or Tension Bow. I think Tension Bow would be the likely choice, but Bone Saw could work as well. Just with the Glimmer Shots tearing through, would do a lot of shred. We'll have to see, though, if that does come about. There's only a couple team fights left in this game. Calamity Reborn able to push forward, find themselves a nice opening. They're going on to Joker here. Sneaky, he has been silenced. He can't throw Glimmer Shots. He's been feared. He's so far out of the fight. Joker goes down, and now he's left alone. There's the active camo stun. Aeon gets trapped, but it's going to be classed falling. Sneaky in a 1v3. Can't find the stun onto Aeon, and he goes down. A double to Aeon. The Kraken respawning as well. Calamity Reborn not even looking for it.
Aeon with an absolutely crucial reflex block on that final active camo trap. If that block doesn't come out in time, that is Sneaky able to find that kill and perhaps even turn it around. But Calamity, they don't want the Kraken. They want the game. With ace buff minions in on these turrets, the barrier is gone. The Joker will be respawning, but it's just not going to be enough as Calamity. Wow, what? Just 2 fights is all they needed to turn this game completely back around and take down the Crystal.
It's much simpler than that. All they needed was 2 metal jackets. Tasty bacon. Sneaky's damage was fantastic until armor was built, and then this crit build is nowhere near as effective. He should have sold one of his monocles or his tornado trigger, got himself a armor pierce item, because without it, he wasn't able to lay down anywhere near as much damage. Of course, we mentioned earlier that Joker's build would fall off, that he wouldn't be a late game threat, that he would become more utility focused, and that was the case. Just became 3 stacks for Leon and Aeon. Scoundrel, incredible first game from these guys. Salty Potatoes probably putting up a bigger fight than most people expected, though.
What a first game. I mean, that was... There's a couple of things that I really want to touch on from that game. But Salty Potatoes are standing up way better than we thought they would against Calamity Reborn. But I have never seen a team as good as Calamity Reborn about knowing when they can end, shot cooling off the back of team fights, and being so decisive. Any other team in the VG8, or even in the VG8, but maybe in VGL, having got that ace around Kraken, might have said, "Oh, safe, let's go for Kraken. It's safe to go for Kraken." They just ran straight down the middle. They knew they had enough time to go and take the 2 Vein Crystal turrets to take the Vein Crystal. Super decisive stuff from Calamity Reborn. But, I mean, I've got to give credit over to Sneaky and his team. I agree. I think Sneaky should have gone Sorrow Blade, Tension Bow, Tornado Trigger, Tyrant's Monocle. I think that might have been a better build. Obviously, the Sorrow Blade, the Tornado Trigger comes in to give him some more versatility in team fights, to make sure he's not just Glimmer Shot focused. He can make some basic attacks, which he did, and they were quite impactful at times. But those big metal jackets coming out, just huge barriers to blocking so much of the critical strike. When you have 200 armor, you only deal 1/3 of your weapon power damage to a target with 200 armor. And that includes critical strikes. So your critical strikes get cut by 66% when you have 200 armor. That is a massive reduction in damage. And if Metal Jacket gives you something at level 12, Metal Jacket gives you like 256. So you're dealing something like 25 to 30% of your actual weapon power to a target with Metal Jacket. Which is why that 12% true pierce coming through from Tension Bow is so strong right now, because that 12% damage is true damage that you deal, and then the rest of it you deal with the Metal Jacket. So yeah, I think I'm completely on board with you there, Darcy. Some people have said the Tyrant's Monocle build can just rip through Metal Jacket, but wasn't seeming to do it that game.
At the same time, while I agree with you guys as well, I think a little bit of armor pierce would have gone a long way for Sneaky there. At that last fight, I watched it back again. The reflex blocks were just a bit too late. Sneaky got silenced and then got feared. If the fear especially doesn't go through and hit Sneaky, the Crucible was a little bit off. It's very difficult to when your team is not all in the same area to get the Crucible to block all 3 members on that fear. But Sneaky getting feared there took him completely out of that fight. And you got to figure, if he's in that fight during that duration of the fear, that very likely ends up going the other way, because he was able to get the other members so low for the time that he was in the fight. So the build can be in question, but at the same time, it's also, they were so close to still being able to win that.
So we're into the draft here. Again, Salty Potatoes now taking A side. It'll be Calamity Reborn on B side. We'll have to see what this draft makes as we go through. Could be a 2-0 for Calamity Reborn, but I feel after the back of that Salty Potatoes performance, we could be in for a very good series. Despite the really decisive end from Calamity Reborn there, I think for the majority of the game, Salty Potatoes were in command.
Pretty insane. Pretty insane. But if you remember, a little team called Reliable Union in the last Challenger Series, head up by Sneaky, then you definitely remember that this team is capable of great things. Currently VG8 great things. That is going to be a Baron and a Grace Band away. First pick potential here for the side of Salty Potatoes. We know that Sneaky's Black Feather is very good. In times like this, do you fall back to it? No, he's going towards a Vox, taking it away from Leon, and I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, it's Vox is still considered to be one of the strongest laners in the game after Baron, so lots of teams still put heavy priority on the Vox pickup. So Lyra will be the answer here for Calamity, getting their captain picked up before the second wave of bans, which is I think is really smart because, we've seen a lot of teams actually banning away captains in the second rotation of bans. Not going to be the case here because that the Lyra already picked up.
Wonder what you ban of your Salty Potatoes here. Has to be something like Idris or Kestrel's been banned for you. Yeah, you just go Idris or Gwen, depending on what you think is the most you're most vulnerable to as a Vox. Idris is going to be the choice there. That's already 4 laners removed from the hero pool, but you know it's Leon. And with a weapon power Lance coming through, you can go Celeste, and Celeste is going to outrange a Vox, which is probably going to be the draft for Calamity Reborn here. Now, you have to really consider that it's going to be a Celeste or a Scarf, so you need to draft a dive comp of your Salty Potatoes. You have to be thinking ahead of your opponent and trying to prevent the possibility of a CP vulnerable hero being picked unanswered. And so if you're the side of Salty Potatoes, perhaps you go for a Catherine, perhaps you go for a Taka, something that has a Black Feather, something that just has really good execution ability. Arden, fantastic, can lock them in. Now I just want to see an assassin, really, I think, from Salty Potatoes. And I think they really reduce the options from Calamity Reborn.
Yeah, it absolutely has to be an assassin. The Arden is great with assassins as well, because you can get your assassin into the fight that much quicker, or save them if they, happen to overstep and go a little bit too deep. So that's a great pickup. They're going to use a fair bit of their bonus time here, trying to figure out where they want to go with this last pick. I think, again, Kashka, Taka, Blackfeather, all 3 of them would work exceptionally well. And they're going to go with the Batiste, though. This is a very risky pickup because, again, very likely Calamity's going to grab one of those really safe backline Crystal Mages.
I guess Batiste has range, but Mojo certainly packs a punch. Wow.
Oh.
Okay. Never mind. Let's go. Scoundrel. What are you thinking, my man?
I'm just don't know, if I'm honest. CP Saw, I guess, would be where we're going with this.
It's going to be weapon power Saw with a on-hit lance.
Or CP carry Lyra.
Yeah, let's be honest, it could be CP carry Lyra. It could be a whole host of things. If I were to pick, though, why would I want to pick a Saw? Maybe because you're already so immobile that the Batiste doesn't make a difference?
Or maybe because you're Leon and you want to just flex on people.
Yeah, true. The CP Saw for me would make a lot of sense because of the ability to just spam your wind-up, so you spam your suppressing fire from range. It's an interesting draft. It's an interesting draft. We're going to jump into the game as quickly as possible. Just want to make sure both teams are ready. But I'm going to show you the versus screen between these 2 teams, as I didn't have a chance to set it up because there's a lot of setup required. Have a look over at your screen. You'll see all of the teams, and interestingly enough, you can see that Aeon has actually played a lot of Rhyme and had a huge amount of success on Rhyme this season. So that's an interesting one there for you. So we like to see some interesting pickups here and there as we are moving towards draft. Leon has also got a lot of Lance games. Yeah, Leon has also got a lot of Lance games, and that comes up on your screen. And as you see, as we get into game. Leon is actually on the Lance, and it's now my time to back out and give it over to Dalsy and Tasty.
Wow. Here we go, Tasty Bacon. I don't even remember the last time I saw Saw. Yes, I do. I remember the last time I saw Saw. It was Cloud9 playing CP Saw. It was I Love Joseph, and they failed miserably with it. That was the last time I saw Saw. So,
And that was some time ago.
that was some time ago.
Because Saw is currently the only hero that has not been played in this season of Vainglory 8. Feels bad for him, but we get to see him here in VGL instead, as Aeon will be taking it into the lane with Leon on the Lance in the jungle. And already you can see they're trying to put a ton of pressure up in the lane. Does allow Class to just steal away this mid-treant away from Leon. He's going to be a little upset to see that that's gone, but I want to see how early they're going to try and take this turret down in the lane, because by putting the Lyra in the lane to start, that says to me that they really want to get this pressure out. They want to try and take this turret as quickly as they can.
Yeah, and I know Calamity Reborn have been playing this in some of their easier games in the bracket. You know, the Saw, they disrespect, perhaps just a lot of fun. That's actually first blood, though, going over to the Joker as Leon loses his life by the Treant and secures it as well. That could actually be a bummer to Calamity Reborn if Leon's not actually doing well into the Joker. Joker shutting him down with the Ordained ability when he goes in for an impale. Ordain him and you can just trap him there. So things become a little bit interesting. Do see the Joker coming around, looking for a kill into Rear End here. Rear End should lose his life as well. Man, Salty Potatoes are playing this perfectly. Really just shutting down the potential around Saw. Rather than shutting down Saw himself, take down Leon, take down Rear End, and all of a sudden this push comp becomes a lot harder to execute.
Yeah, and that was also just such a smart rotation from the Joker. He found the kill onto Leon, and that means there's no chance for them to spot him where he goes. So he comes up from behind, and there's just no escape available to Rio Ren because of that movement. So, excellent job by Salty Potatoes, like you said, start this off.
Leon. Can they find an impale? Yes, they can. That might just be a dead... Oh, it's a very dead sneaky right there. And now the push will be real. Here comes Aeon on his Saw. The Joker has backported as well. Calamity Reborn may just go for a turret right here, right now. I reckon they get it down to half before we see the Vox last hit a CS. Let's go. Turret starting to take damage, taking damage. Okay, last hit at CS. Not quite half. more like 2/3.
It's about about somewhere between a quarter and a third taken off of the turret, but still a great push to start off. We're still not even 3 minutes into this game, and you got to figure this pressure is just going to continue to mount. This is what Saw does. This is what Calamity wants to be doing, is just pressure this turret, these big suppressing fires, do some good damage onto Sneaky, but Aeon is going for this weapon Saw, perhaps. So this could end up being that double weapon composition we've been looking for.
Yeah, I think we're more likely to see an on-hit Lance, which seems to be a little bit more effective than on-hit Rupture currently. Joker does get impaled there. Aeon going to just lay down some damage onto Sneaky with his powered up Gatling gun, or water pistol, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's a water pistol. There is a lot of
water cannon, that's what it is.
Water cannon, alright. Alright, mate.
If it was someone other than Saw, it'd be a water pistol, but it's Saw, so it's a water cannon.
Alright. This turret hasn't really taken too much damage yet. In fact, Aeon may be trapped here. Here comes Leon looking for just to save everyone. Good impale, good Diffion's War. They're chasing Salty Potatoes. Boots have been popped. The Joker with his Ordained up in 4 seconds. Can Class get someone into position? Vanguard's up, but they're not going to chase that deep. I feel like Salty Potatoes are playing this about as good as you can do at this point. The fact that it's 4 minutes and the turret has not been taken yet is severely hurting the push potential of this Saw. But, you know, we've still got 6 minutes left, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, one of the things we always used to say was, with a weapon Saw, if you don't get that first turret down by 5 minutes, then you are very, like, your chances of winning diminish by about 70%. So Aeon and Ryuren need to really start getting some
10,
push going.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Oh.
All right.
If they find it immediately after, though, it's still okay. But
it still counts. It still counts if it's like 10 seconds late.
Yeah, if it's like you have really theoretically until like 5:30, but it just doesn't sound as good to say. If you don't get it by 5.5.
If it's okay by 6, is it fine?
No, it's not. This is at this point, because they're not going to be able to get it down within like the next 10 seconds. This is where it becomes an issue. Not getting that first turret down very, very early into the game with a weapon saw, it becomes so difficult to actually be able to find any pushes.
Well, they haven't got the turret down. It is that 5:30 mark. Calamity, though, are pushing towards the turret now, and they've got energy advantage over the Joker, who is out. He needs to go back at some point. I'm sure they'll push this next wave. That's going to be a fear just to make sure they push the wave nice and easily, and then they can all just go backport or secure their backs. Maybe Joker can't. He needs to, though. He's not really offering anything with that much energy. Calamity Reborn will be looking for a turret here. Leon is actually just roaming towards the back here. He will steal away those. Joker still in the turret. They know he's there. He's visible. Sneaky wants to go back. Joker has one bad mojo left in him, and it seems like Aeon will be getting the turret now due to some bad, I guess, attempts at backing from Salty Potatoes.
Also, very heads-up play from Leon there, though. They recognize, okay, while we're putting pressure on, all three of them have to be in the lane. The Joker is low. He's still sticking around. His next move, it has to be to recall. So Leon just takes advantage of the situation, goes into their backs, and steals away their camps. So I really like that movement from Leon to take advantage of the situation, get himself a little bit of extra gold. The turret goes down after 6 minutes, so it's not the end of the world for the weapon saw. It's still very much a lower chance than if they had gotten the first turret down before the first 5 minutes, because now these next two are going to be very difficult to push, just because the wave clear is going to be there from the side of Salty Potatoes, but it's not the absolute end of the world.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what they can do here, as it's going to be Leon. Huge impale onto Sneaky. Class holding his fountain. There is an Iron Guard contract. Sneaky has his poison shift, can sustain back up, and he will be able to. Right now, it's seeming like Calamity Reborn are controlling these, and there is just not enough engaged. They need this gauntlet. Good ordained Leon gets popped down, and that's going to be a fountain pulled out. Aeon, he's standing still, but he might have to start backing up now. Going to heal him back up, but there is the damage from this Baptiste, and I think Calamity Reborn are forced to retreat here. Seemingly likely that they are going double weapon power, and they are both have those piercing spears to do so. All right, Aeon. It's not hard to hit a gold miner when it's stationary. It's not going to matter, nonetheless.
All right, so nice gold payout collected for Calamity. Sneaky went and got himself a level 6 infusion just to help with this wave clear against the weapon saw. I mean, the how quickly these minions fall with this against saw is really impressive. That's a very early Aegis completed for Aeon as well. Obviously knows that the Joker is a big damage threat when he gets himself the those 4 soul shards. He's able to do quite a bit of work with those bad mojos, and so having that bit of defense early, very important. I want to see, I assume Aeon will actually end up going towards the bone saw, because being able to shred your opponent's armors when you have the attack speed that Saw does when he's built up, he can shred the armor of all members of Salty Potatoes. So we'll see how that ends up working out. Nice little play here. Leon not going to connect, though.
Yeah, the Gauntlet's going to hit L3, big. And that's just going to be this Slyra dropped immediately. Good fear. Leon should die here. He will. And Aeon, and Leon is now the one to run away. Calamity Reborn able to hold on to their turret there. And it's just been waiting for Class to hit this level 6 as quickly as possible so that they could pull some gauntlet plays and shut down this push from Calamity. It's all starting to turn on its head here. Salty Potatoes looking for this turret. Should be able to secure it. Sneaky's tanking here. He needs to drop the aggro. It's providing a bit of a problem. They're not actually going to get the turret because of an auto attack onto Leon. That's the worst. That's the thing I hate the most, is when someone auto attacks a hero rather than just going for the kill. The turret.
Yeah, so turret still stands for the side of Calamity, but those fights, they're going to start swinging.
Oh, it's just Scoundrel is...
Oh.
It's making me laugh. He's saying that it's going to be a bone saw for Saw. Yeah, I don't know how else you can say it. It is just bone saw, and it is going to be as well. You can see he's got the blazing salvo with that. So oh gosh, Aeon. Man. Okay.
All right, tension bow on Leon with the lance, so he's going to have that heavy burst when he goes in. But again, the side of Salted Potatoes, they just need to fight around this gauntlet. As long as they can land gauntlets, someone is going to get stuck in it, almost certainly. Leon has no way to get out of a gauntlet if he's stuck inside of it. The reflex blocks will be very important for Aeon and Ryuren, but in between the gauntlet and the fearsome shade, it's a lot that has to be dealt with.
Certainly is. There's that bone saw coming in from Aeon. He is the bone saw, but that's a fear being blocked up. Sneaky gets rooted, destroyed, annihilated. Aeon, can he survive in the fight? Yes, he can. And now the Joker, full HP against 2. What can he do is the question. No boots to proc, so he can't speed through. It will just be both these carries dropping.
So, 1 for 1 with the bone saw online. And Fusion's going to be coming out pretty much consistently throughout the entire remainder of this game, as Aeon just went and grabbed one for himself as well. 1-2 on the saw, 0-1-2 on the lance, but we've already seen Calamity. This is a team that doesn't need to have these massive kill leads in order to apply pressure and find themselves ways to stay in or even be ahead in games. They have a gold lead at the moment because of the fact that Salted Potatoes really haven't been able to put any pressure in the lane due to, it's kind of tough to pressure up a Saw without getting a kill onto him. So,
what do you make of Leon's build, by the way?
I was trying to ignore it.
No, don't ignore it. This is important things. So we're playing a double weapon power, guys. You're looking at Leon's build, and you're seeing that he has a tension bow plus 2 piercing spears. Now, the idea is that Leon, with his auto attacks, can pierce right through everyone and drop armor. That's what Leon needs to be doing. He needs to be auto attacking through as many people as possible to shred as many people's armor instantly.
But he doesn't shred their armor. His attacks just pierce armor. He doesn't shred armor.
That's a good point. This is a good point. Anyway, everyone goes in. Aeon going very low. Joker, that will lose his life. Aeon will be able to survive, but Sneaky's diving forward. Gets impaled. Nice. Sneaky should be able to finish Leon. Double kill for him. And it is Aeon getting away. Classed! Can he get the kill? He walks in. He doesn't have vision. And if Classed, he does have a flare. Damn it, Classed. You had a flare. You could have blood for blood. No bueno.
Could have blood for blood, or you could have just used a Vanguard as you walk into the bush.
He used it to get the speed buff. He didn't have it up, but he had a flare. That's the point. He had a flare, and he could have blood for blood because he had vision, but he didn't have vision because he didn't flare.
Sneaky, stop attacking Aeon. Just take the turret. Sneaky. Turret's still gonna be standing for the side of Calamity. 13 minutes in, and they have not lost a turret yet. But this the builds again, double weapon. The armor is starting to come out. Needs to be a little bit more armor completed for the side of Salty Potatoes before I feel like they can be really comfortable in these fights. But yeah, Leon's build, again, has a ton of pierce, but really only has the Sorrow Blade for actual damage to come out. And that's something that is going to be a bit of trouble until he finishes off. I'd assume he's going to go into a Bone Saw. And when Leon does have a Bone Saw, that's when the Pierce is actually, going to be very useful because he will be shredding armor against multiple targets if he hits them. So here we go.
Oh, Sneaky. Lots of damage. There's that gauntlet, but it doesn't really do anything. Aeon's able to just stay in the fight. Good fear will knock him out of his auto attack. He's up to full HP. Calamity, I think, have failed their engage now. Sorry, Salty Potatoes have failed their engage now, and I'm not entirely sure how Salty Potatoes turn this one around. Here we go. Turret will go down. Nothing much that you can do when your gauntlet doesn't connect. And now everyone's portaling through. It's going to be Aeon looking just to tear through everyone. Sneaky goes very low. Escapes Leon. Joker, can he find the hit? He can, but it's not enough damage. And Aeon's just holding them all back with his suppressing fire. Man, Calamity Reborn are getting closer and closer to the base with every push they go for. Leon, though, may have just bit more than he can chew. Never mind. That will be Aeon coming in to finish the trick. This is a pretty insane game. I really want to see Salty Potatoes win it, though, just because I want a 3-game series. and because I kind of want the disrespect from Calamity to go punished, but it is great watching them execute this composition when they could have just gone for something really strong and won the game very quickly.
And I mean, at the same time, as much we like seeing disrespect comps, so to speak, get punished, to see a team be able to execute compositions like this is so impressive, as you were mentioning. I mean, I still expect to see them struggle a little bit, but now with the breaking point on Aeon is going to be terrifying in these fights. As long as they can prevent Aeon from getting feared or stunned up, like, this Saw is going to do so much work.
Yeah, no, I guess he will. Will they be able to win it, though, is the question. A good engage from Class shuts it down. That is what we're looking for. It's just a good engage from Class to shut it down. We'll have to see if Class can be the hero his team needs. This Kraken would go down pretty quickly, I feel. Journey boots finish for Aeon now. Leon missing his engage. Class has his ultimate up. Everyone's in a corridor. Can he find the engage? Flares not quite revealing people. Doesn't seem like they want it just yet. Joker doesn't have an infusion. Hasn't finished his broken myth. The Kraken has been started up. Aeon starting to tear through it. Here comes Salty Potatoes looking for an engage. Aeon, a very easy target to jump on, but the Bright Bubble goes down and now they're all diving forward. Can Class land the engage necessary? Has they thrown the fear? I don't know if they have. They have, but they've dropped Aeon. It's going to be Sneaky finding the kill. He's looking for another. That's the second, but Leon blows him up with a single impale. Class now running from Leon, but Leon will stop him from running. Put him in a wall. Look for an impale to finish off the job. Get himself the ace. In fact, he doesn't need it. He just continues auto-attacking. He has a minion wave pushing on up. There's 19 seconds left on these death timers. No way Leon does not get a turret.
Absolutely no way that this choke point turret still stands. And Leon able to find these kills. Actually, not using the impale was probably the best choice he could have made there. Because if you don't hit that on a target that can move around a bit, then he doesn't find that kill. He gets stuck in place for a little bit and ends up not finding the ace. Instead, he was confident in his ability to chase, used the just flat damage that he has with this lance. He scales very well with the weapon power, but it is going to be now the side of Salty Potatoes on the back foot even further. 7,000, almost 8,000 gold. Here we go.
Oh, the fight breaking out once more. It's going to be everyone from Salty Potatoes dropping low once more. Great block from rear and stops the stun. Sneaky not able to find the kill. Class last man standing. And he is going to be running for his life once more. Calamity Reborn will chase on through. Leon last time found the kill easy. This time it is an impale missing, but he has rear end for the speed buff. And that's going to be a Giffian War, knocking him to his death. An ace comes through for the side of Calamity once more. And this time it will be the Kraken on the cards.
They're going to rotate on down, start this Kraken up. Aeon hasn't been able to find, a ton of... He hasn't been able to survive the fights, but has been putting in a ton of work in the fights, is what I was going for. He's able to get a lot of damage down preemptively. Sneaky with the Slumbering Husk. I think, again, very smart item pickup. It allowed him to survive very long, but just not long enough to get the kill onto Leon or Ryuren. Aeon was the only one they're able to take out. Kraken is going to go down uncontested, perhaps. Yeah, oh my goodness, Leon completely stops the chance for a steal to come through. And so Kraken is unleashed. Calamity, a double weapon composition, a weapon saw. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen saw in general. It's been even longer since we've seen the weapon saw come out in a highly competitive game, and that's exactly what Calamity is looking to make work right here with this push.
Yeah, certainly are. Kraken on their side. These team fights seemingly going the way of Calamity every single time due to some fantastic reflex blocks coming out of rear, and Aeon and Leon, of course, able to do their own. They've got a portal, and they just need to wait for the Kraken to push into the base, and then they can just follow it up straight onto the turret. Or they go on top of Sneaky with an impale. There it is. Right Bower goes down. This time Class misses the gauntlet. Joker falls immediately. Class will be the next target. Sneaky just can't finish off the job. Class not even going to be focused by Calamity Reborn. They are going for the win. They are not stopping. That's going to be Sneaky melted in front of my eyes. Makes it back to heal up. Leon may lose his life, but it will be Sneaky following just after Calamity Reborn with this crazy double weapon power. Saw composition will be taking themselves through to the finals of the VGL Challenger Series and locking in a top 2 spot at the Challenge Battles.
Yeah, they're going to play with their food a little bit longer here, but Kraken is too healthy. The Crystal explodes, and Calamity Reborn take the series against Salty Potatoes. I think the craziest thing about these fights, Aeon wasn't even stutter stepping with this saw. He was just standing still, being a turret, and dishing out tons of damage. And Calamity Reborn able to make the unconventional composition work as they pick up the 2-0.
Pretty insane stuff from Calamity to be able to take this out and be able to secure the victory with a Saw composition. It didn't feel like they got off to the best start here, Tasty Bacon, but they were able to finish the job in the end, and obviously that is the bit that matters, is that you do finish the job at the end and able to just take it all away. Classed with a last moment. We'll see you guys in the final. So obviously looking forward to their games tomorrow. But Scoundrel, how about that for a double weapon power composition?
Well, do you know what's so cool is that me and Dalsy were talking about this earlier, and we were saying, God, Tension Bow's really powerful right now. Bonesaw was considered meta for just a little bit. Surely there's a space now for double weapon power builds, and we're doing it on stream, I think. We were talking about it on stream, and it feels good to like see it in action and see it actually work. It works so perfectly in this situation though, because obviously the big on-hit damage from Lance, if you shred the armor with the saw, he then absolutely chunks through the squishies of Batiste and Vox. It's like having almost like a double Shatterglass Kestra on your side. Like if you hit the squishies with your skill shot, they're going to die. And Lance kind of did that there for Calamity Reborn. And on top of that fact, Saw seems like a really good pick into Batiste, because you throw him through the portal with Lyra. If Batiste puts Ordained on Saw, he really doesn't care. Like Saw is immobile by nature. So he's not good. Even if he wanted to at full spins, I don't think he'd get out of the Ordained range by the time he tried moving there. That's what I think is so beautiful about this. And there was a really nice illustration of it where they sent Saw through the portal, and he just stood there, just like Tasty Bacon said, stood there auto-attacking. And it was all on Leon then to do the real cleanup duty, because he was the guy getting the stuns, the impales, the big multi-man hitting basic attacks. Because remember, Lance's basic attacks pierce multiple targets, so he wasn't just getting impales that hit multiple people. He was getting basic attacks that hit multiple people, which pierced armor on top of the armor shred that Saw was providing. So what a really cool composition from Calamity Reborn. I already know what one of my next videos is going to be about. But anyway, we are going to be moving on here. Let's show you the end of the day playoff bracket, as that's what we are going to be seeing tomorrow. So you'll get an indication as to what we're going to see. Obviously, we've seen Historic Esports go out 2-0 to Audacity, XL Esports fell 2-0 to King Team Queso, and Calamity Reborn beat Salty Potatoes 2-0 as well. And that means tomorrow we are going to have the first game of the day, the final game to decide our final challenger battle place will be Audacity Gaming versus Team Queso. It's going to be a really, really good game. That'll be the first of the night. Then we'll follow up with the consolidation final between Salty Potatoes and the winner of that. And then, at the very end of the night, we'll have our final game of the day, Calamity Reborn, taking on whoever makes it to the final for the winner of VGL. But right now, it doesn't like anything can stop both the innovation and the skill of Calamity Reborn. So, that has been us for the day. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, when we're going to be seeing all of those games that I just mentioned from Dalsy, Tasty Bacon, and myself, as well as Exceptions, doing all the behind-the-scenes work. We've had a fantastic day here at VGL Summer Split, and we'll be concluding our entire first split tomorrow at 6 PM. No, yes, 6 PM CET. I was second-guessing myself, but 6 PM CET, so see you there.
That's what happens when need this life.